Let's get this motherfucker done dead.
We are here with Matthew Fisher, Alex Hauck, and Mike Calvin. And we are going to be talking DJ Stan the Man, which Maddie directed. Alex is one of the actors, and the DP, an extremely talented filmmaker, Mike Calvin.
They're both producers as well. Alexander Hauck at AP, and Mike Calvin's a producer. He's a producer's producer.
Yeah, just a P.
He's just a P, not the AP.
He's a big P.
Oh, well. Let's keep it PG, Hauck.
Right, exactly, yeah. I mean, we can either go against the grain or not. So, you know, here we are. It's been 5 years since the movie has come out. And I think it'd be wonderful if you guys could, you know, just sort of talk a little bit about how this whole thing came to be, you know, especially from the origins to the beginning of the writing process even.
Did you want to take it, Mikey, or me?
All right. You tell me if I'm wrong, because this is a really long time ago.
All right.
But I think the way I remember the beginning is you and I killing time at work, at a wedding video place, just kind of hanging out and just saying, like, we both knew Chase Carson, aka DJ Stan the Man. Just saying, like, this guy, he's a character. Like, I don't mean that in like the way my grandma says it. I mean, like, he's not an actual person. He's like a fictional character that just fell out of the universe and landed here.
Yeah. Cartoon.
So
exactly. Like,
in some weird sense, you know.
Yeah.
There's no derogatory or pejorative, you know, term in any way, but just kind of that whole character essence is what, you know, is what you're saying more than anything else.
Yeah, like, I couldn't imagine him commuting and brushing his teeth and, you know, combing. Well, he didn't comb his hair anyway, but yeah, exactly. He never had hair when I knew him. But what I mean, you know what I mean? He's like just so over the top and larger than life, and like, yeah. I couldn't imagine any time when he wasn't either having some kind of freak out or DJing a wedding.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Now, with the writing process, how did that kind of start? I mean, was it just a series of notes that you guys just accumulated together, and like, what was the writing process of the beginnings for the script of DJ Stan the Man?
Before the script?
Yeah, or just like leading up to, like, how you mentioned, you know, how you guys have worked together with the writing process of the script itself. You know, how long did it take to actually write the script, I guess would be the more direct question.
Matt, do you remember?
A couple months, I think. Me and Mikey started, we met at the wedding company. Chase was there doing his wedding things, and Mikey went to school for film, which was always something I appreciated, because I didn't. He was more of a classier filmmaker. And we started doing the weddings and stuff, and me and Mike did a project called The Site at first. That was the first thing we ever did. It was like a TV pilot, like kind of like The Office, but based off of like a Boston construction site. And we did that, and after The Site, we were kind of gearing up to do like the next thing. And I remember The Wicked Hollows, which is the film we're trying to do now in COVID times. But The Wicked Hollows was gonna be the next film that I was planning doing, because it was a smaller type film, you know, less people, less locations. And I think I said the idea of doing a film based off of DJ Stan the Man to Mike Calvin, and he was like, bang, like 2 thumbs up immediately. Bing! And I remember he thought it was going to be a big film festival movie, which it did all right, but you know, it wasn't a big film festival movie. And so DJ came into existence like that. And as far as writing it, I think we like bounced ideas off of each other, knowing the folklore that is DJ Stan the Man. And, you know, building that film, incorporating a bunch of weird characters or not so weird that we worked with at, you know, throughout life. And a couple were plucked from the wedding place that we were working from, and they're just characters throughout life. So the story just kind of wrote itself in a way where it was like, you know, we go, if anybody who ever worked in the wedding business, you know that it's like a wild, crazy place. So you just kind of you create a hero, which is DJ. You put him in all these weird situations that I'd say like 99% of the situations that happen to him in the movie happen in real life. You know, it's funny, there's a scene that people get a little fluffed over about a little bit. There's there's an N-bomb dropped in the film. And sometimes people get a little weirded out by it. But truth be told, that scene is reality. Like, that was taken from a real life thing. And I always thought that we got the upper hand on it because we got to get revenge for the characters saying that by having DJ actually hit him, where in real life DJ didn't get to hit him. So we were trying to make good on that. But
because often, you know, life might not be that flattering, but the great thing about artistic and creative, you know, with filmmaking is kind of putting that little twist on it, you know, that can work in your favor. So, you know, it's nice you were able to kind of glorify and put that positive twist on something that might have been perceived as a little, you know, not just a great moment.
Well, we got a good compliments. We had a few people that kind of were in the business that like came to screenings, and I was trying to think of the DJ's name real quick. DJ, he might not be happy that I forgot that, but DJ Quick, maybe, I could be wrong, but he came to it and he did weddings, and I remember him complimenting him definitively in my head, complimenting, you know, the way you guys captured weddings is like the most realist I've ever seen weddings in a movie, and I thought that was cool. You know what I mean? We tried to hit that.
You know, I have to throw this over to Alex really quick because, you know, he, you know, plays a very prominent member in this movie that is the cameraman. Now, what was it like? I mean, did you actually learn the ins and outs and little bits of the actual camera, or was it more or less like a prop that you just were filming everything? Or did you really get into the nuances of the camera to try to, like, you know, talk about your performance a little, because your character, I think, is one of the funniest characters in this.
Well, first, I mean, as you probably knows, Matt was kind of laughing and giggling about that.
He also had a name in the film.
Yeah, I played Wesley Kalinsky, who was the videographer.
Mm-hmm.
Bill just entered the real life wedding business where he gave a respectable gig. He lowered it to nothing by giving it, well, you're the cameraman, right? I love that. I remember I used to shoot hip hop videos. People would call me the cameraman when I'm directing it. It's like, nah.
Just let it slide.
Yeah.
It's easier that way.
It is.
I only had to kill a couple of them. So Billy or Hauck, whoever is before I cut off. I'm sorry.
Hauck. Like, I mean, but Maddie, you were laughing about how I was talking about, you know, like going into nuances about the camera and stuff, you know. But Hauck, you know, talk a little bit about the character or actually, instead of talking about the character, talk about how you actually got involved, considering this is really kind of how we're kind of going on to this as well. So talk about your affiliation with Maddie, BoomBastic, BoomBastic and Mr. Calvin.
All right. Well, actually, it was kind of funny because I came in. You guys had already started filming for a bit, I believe, at the time that I became a part of the process. I know that I actually got connected to Matt through another person that I knew who made a comment that Matt was looking for someone to play this role. I believe the guy who originally was going to play Wesley, he just dropped out or something like that, or
Wesley, the character. Oh yeah. Originally, Ryan Gillis was going to play Wesley. Do you remember that, Mike? I haven't thought of
Barely.
that.
I know.
haven't thought of that in 20 years, man. And we made the movie five years ago, and I haven't thought of that in 20 years. Yeah, Ryan Gillis, who's a great actor and a great dude. He was in the site. Due to schedule conflict, we couldn't get him. But yeah, if anybody wants to go back and watch the site, if you can find it, and there's definitely Wesley Kalinsky within the Ryan Gillis character, and you could probably put together the fact that this was going to transition over into that film from that character, based off both the characters. But yeah, he had to fall out, so we went on the hunt. And originally it was supposed to be more of a Mark David Chapman type of character. And I know that, yeah, to go back into the thing about, studying up on roles, I wasn't trying to take anything away from the Hauck, because he does study up and he's a great actor. And I do remember you carrying around the book with you a lot.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because, well, I do have to admit that I didn't throw myself into the videographer aspect of the role, but I did throw myself into the psychological aspect of the role.
Yeah.
Because, to be perfectly honest, the way I saw my character is, while he's a videographer, I really didn't see him that he was any more than a guy who, just, kind of just pointed and shot. I didn't see him as a guy who really had a lot of, how should I say, finesse as a videographer. I kind of saw it as kind of the guy that, his mom says, you got to do something more than just hanging out in the house. And he's like, I got a camera. I could do something with this.
Fun
Just
fact, that
yeah.
the camera used was Mike Calvin's camera he shot a bunch of weddings with.
Yeah, that was like my old backup camera at that point.
What
And as I recall,
camera was that?
that was a Canon XL1, if I remember right.
Wow.
Like in the when that camera came out, that was the camera to have. I remember.
Oh my God, yeah. Just from a design standpoint, that is one of the best looking cameras. Oh, and super mega deep cut trivia, if I remember right. 28 Days Later was shot on an extremely modified Canon XL1.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But as Matt said, that I actually did get myself a copy of Catcher in the Rye, and I kind of carried it around with me because when Matt actually contacted me about meeting up, we met up at, I believe it was the Braintree Plaza. I think that's where we met up the first time, and we were sitting down and we were discussing the character, and he brought up the influence of Mark David Chapman, and we talked about that, and I was so I got the book, and actually, because I take public transportation, and I took that down to Braintree to meet up with Matt, that I would read that every time I went to set, and I think I read the book like maybe 3 or 4 times all the way through. And one of the things I did was, I mean, anyone who read, Catcher in the Rye knows one of the big, underlying things about was, the fact that he always saw people as phonies. And I kind of actually went through the entire thing, and I underlined every time the word phony came up. I think it comes up about like 15 times or thereabouts. And I kind of use that as a basis for my character, that, you know, he always looked at like weddings themselves as, you know, like phony people doing phony things. And actually, one of the underlying
Wesley just saw through the bullshit. He just, you know, Wesley just was really his own man and just kind of just saw through everything with some sense of.
Yeah, I mean, one of the funny things is that the way I had my character look at most everyone, that the reason that he works for DJ Stan the Man, and even though DJ gives him crap every so often, that he kind of tolerates it, is he, out of everyone, he always saw DJ as like the least phony of everybody. Because DJ was DJ. He was, you know, there was no, you know, he just said it how it was. And
Yeah.
And that's how I always kind of looked at my character way, looking at DJ as kind of like the only honest person my character has ever dealt with.
He keeps it real, for sure.
Yeah.
You really only connect with him and really saw him more of, you know, less, not a phony, but as an equal, which really, was wonderful, especially between the relationship between you and, you know, Chase. You know, I mean, it's the real chemistry there.
Yeah.
A lot of people say Alex is their favorite character in the film. I believe that Michael's wife feels that way, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, she still quotes. She quotes Wesley Kalinsky from time to time. Like the only person that can just quote lines from DJ Stan the Man from memory. That's not on this call.
Mike, what are some of the quotes that she'll say?
Oh, it's almost always, jiggle the handle!
You need to jiggle the handle! Jiggle the handle!
That is by far one of my favorite parts of DJ was. I love the fact that, you know, not only playing, you know, Wesley, but also the dual role of his mother, which, you know, I leave it up to people who watch it to whether it's really his mother, or is that really Wesley pretending to be his mother?
Well,
That
all I
is
can
up
say
to
is
you to decide.
that bathroom, oh my God, tiny. One of the tiniest bathrooms I've ever seen.
John Pierce's bathroom.
Yeah.
That was his bathroom. He was a kind man for that.
Mm.
So yeah, I took like, I don't know, maybe a couple months to write. And then from that point, we moved into pre-production. Do you remember anything like, to mention anything worth bringing up from writing to pre-production stage, Mikey?
Yeah, were there any real kind of stories that went from that transition?
I mean, I know we got the Indiegogo page that we thought was going to be a big success and was not so much.
Yeah, and we did a lot of technical testing because it was kind of at a awkward time in indie filmmaking. Yeah. Well, a lucky time, but it was like the extreme early days, as I recall, of DSLR video. Yeah. And so it was like I was already, even back then, I was already an experienced video producer, which I mean in the sense of like doing everything myself, you know, shooting and editing and lighting and all that. But it was all with ENG cameras, like the one that that Hauck was using, you know, like, because that was my old camera. But you get a much better cinematic picture out of these DSLRs, and then come to find out they're also like really cheap, and we couldn't have really done DJ Stan the Man without that development, or at least not done it well. And I think it looks like it's fighting way above, you know, way of its weight class because of that. So there was a lot of like Matt asking me during pre-production, like what about, can we do this? And then I say, like, I don't know. I guess I should figure out how to do that. And then I go in to figure out how to do it.
So either way, it sounds like there was definitely a lot of fun, experimental stuff that you guys were really just figuring out, the nuances of what would work, what might not work. But it's wonderful that you had at least, how long was pre-production before you
I
guys?
want to say Mikey's a super talent, and the look of DJ, is
Great look.
part of why it's such a great watch, I feel, and that's all Mikey.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's not all me.
Well, Aaron Tebow helped too, I guess.
Yeah. Well, hey, and Hauck was there. He was there. He was the first one to show up and the last one to leave every time. In addition, to acting, we couldn't have done any of it without him because I only have 2 hands, and he showed up and had 2 more.
Great.
Hey, I mean, I always believe that, especially when you're doing independent film, that, you don't have crews and a lot of people. So, I think pretty much, DJ was the first film that I really came into and really got, my hands dirty, doing behind the scenes stuff. So,
Yeah. I haven't even thought of that, but yeah, you're right. Like, cause you do a lot of crew now and you're producing now and stuff, but yeah, that was kind of the beginning.
Yeah, that was the beginning of me going down the rabbit hole.
He doesn't know.
Hauck, I've known you close to 15 years. I knew you first as an actor, but I consider you more as a filmmaker now, considering how, when I first came on with you guys, you were already behind the scenes. So I think it was a natural progression for you as you have evolved, where, now you have directed, you have produced, so you definitely, have, gone up the ranks through, the BoomBastic team with Mr. Fisher. And definitely a good, nice, entity as part of, BoomBastic as well,
Yeah.
Mike, do you remember how little innocent and pure Alexander Hauck was when he first showed up on the set of DJ?
Yeah, Calvin, what was he like when you first met him? I would love to hear.
Very quiet. He was like a little kid, quiet,
Quiet, respectful,
very
demure, I would say.
Those
Geisha-like.
focused. He was very focused. He'd show up on set. He would help. Of course, Alex was one of the folks that, there were certain actors that would go above and beyond, and Alex is definitely one of them. And yeah, but once he was done working, he'd go into the corner and kind of get into it, and he'd bring it. And Alex is one of the, a lot of the characters kind of in DJ really kind of play regular type people, so to speak. Some of them are a little more BoomBastic, if you will. But Alex's character is the only one that's really a stretch from who he is as a person. So and that's not taking anything away from any of the other characters, but
Well, none of them are murderers.
Yeah.
I did not kill anybody.
Everybody, yeah.
And I will say that under oath.
I think on a quick note, I would like to congratulate Hauck, considering he now has an award named after him.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I have to admit that is a and of course it's funny because I'm also the only one in the series of awards that's actually still breathing. Everyone else has passed away.
He's probably on a bed coma with a tube in him. We're keeping his mind alive.
Yes.
That's the only thing. Bill, you had a question that I stomped all over, I think, right?
I completely lost it because you stomped all over it and you backed up.
We pre-production. We did some auditions, Mike. You remember the auditions that were just as successful as Indiegogo?
I remember that is one of the moments that is branded into my brain.
And
it was a formative
tap
moment.
Into that, Calvin, please go in depth. I'd love to hear more of it.
Oh man, we had great aspirations at the beginning.
They all say they do, and of course, we always have grand aspirations.
And so I pulled some strings, like going through a friend of a friend to try to get us like a legitimate location to hold auditions.
Yeah.
And one of them came through, and I am really grateful. So my wife's friend, who became my friend, Paul McMurtry, the owner of the Dedham Community Theater, came through for us and let us hold auditions at the Dedham Community Theater, which I couldn't have been more pleased about.
Yes, thank you.
It was great. And, well, you know, it was great when we got there and started setting up. And, Matt, did we have 2 people show up?
2 people, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
we had 2 people show up. Extreme opposites.
Oh, yeah.
The first person to show up was, she was some, like, a legit crazy person.
Yeah, puppet lady.
Yeah, she had puppets, and, like, I don't know if she understood what an audition was, because...
I think she thought it was like America's Got Talent audition or something.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
she showed up and she didn't want to be in the movie. She wanted us to produce a puppet television show for her, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yeah, she thought of herself as like a Mr. Rogers, and it had nothing to do with DJ Stan the Man. It had nothing to do with even film. It was just like, hey, I like puppets. How about I just pitch you on some puppets and you can just rearrange your life around me? So, you know, we politely saw her puppets, you know, just in case. Oh, can you imagine that, Matt? I never even thought of that. Imagine if we cast a puppet.
I almost wish we did at one point.
I know. It would have been groundbreaking. But that didn't occur to me at the time. So we thanked her and sent her on her way. And then the other person that showed up was...
Sebastian.
An awful person. Sebastian. I'm sorry, Sebastian.
Kanarski. Sebastian Kanarski.
Yeah, and he was the other end. Remember I said there was 2 opposite polar ends. There was this crazy lady, and then Sebastian. Sebastian was trying out for one of the, either Jules or Marty, I forget which, one of the assistants. And he delivered like such intensity. And I don't remember if it was on the spot or if it was afterwards. Me and Matt talked and said, like, well, okay, he would be fine as Jules or Marty, but Jules and Marty are kind of like marathon characters. They have a lot of screen time and they're pretty chill. And this guy, we have this other character that is way more for him, and that is the brother that shows up and he wants to perform and he has a nervous breakdown. He has less screen time, but he hits high highs and low lows. And Sebastian was down for that, luckily.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's so funny. It's 2 opposite spectrums of Puppet Lady and Bastion, basically. Just, I mean, yeah, that's really funny.
And that was it. We had hours of time booked.
So how much of a block of time, like, would you have, like a 4 or 5 hour reserved window?
Yeah, it was something like
2
that.
people show up.
Yeah, it was all evening, and there was just a lot of just looking at the clock. And then I remember just packing up our stuff and getting in the car, and then I turned on the radio, and Take Me Home Country Road started playing, and I was just in this low mood, and that song is tattooed on my brain now for just like driving away in a funk going, this is not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, no, but of all the songs too, get out of there, packing your stuff up, you're kicking rocks.
Yep.
It's like, this is the song.
Yeah.
Right. And whenever you hear that song, you're probably just think of like, oh my God, honey, or whoever, like, remember that casting session? And it's like, let's not think about that. But there's the song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was a great location. They had a lot of art in the basement. Hopefully they're still kicking with COVID. If they are, Dedham Community Theater, support them.
Yeah, great place.
I haven't been there in a few years, but I mean, it's a beautiful venue from what I can.
We were gonna screen DJ there, but I want to say there was something up with the hours. Scheduling of it is like the only time it was opened up to like indie films was during the day, and we like can't get anybody. We're lucky enough to get people to show up at night, for crying out loud. DJ always had pretty good attendance, though, I will say. Our films usually always open up to a good attendance, and then we make the foolish choice to do multiple screenings in Massachusetts. So realistically, by that third screening, nobody else is going. You know what I mean? But we like to keep it fun for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that. The Indiegogo thing, we had a nice big. It was like the Tonight Show layout. You know, Mike wrote out this incredibly well-grammared, beautiful thing for the Indiegogo, and then Chase was like a Johnny Carson interviewing me and Mike about wanting to make this film, and I think $46 was raised.
A grand total of $46.
I forget how much we wanted, maybe 10 grand or something. Nothing like crazy. Might even have been less. Might even have been like $5 grand, which is sad. But what can you do? So we got $46. You know, we've always had a gung ho run into it type attitude, at least budget wise. You know, so we kind of ran into it. And like Alex said, you know, we stopped and started a few times, but that was kind of like the plan. You know what I mean? We had things, there was pre-scheduled things that, you know, were set up. We were just really gung-ho to get into it, that it was like, it was either wait 3 months or wait 4 months and just shoot it all, or start piecing it together now. We were just so gung-ho and happy to go that we just started at that time.
Yeah.
You know, we ran into a few issues and such, but since we're talking casting, I'll take this time to bring in some of the other folks that were involved with the film. You know what I mean? Did you want to ask any more other questions about like the making of?
Well, I think we pretty much, yeah, no, I don't have any more questions. I'm happy with what we have so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by P. Morse. You know what I mean?
Peter Moore.
The king of it all, some people.
Oh,
Yo, what up?
Yo, Peter, dude, how's it going, dude?
hold on, let me turn my music off.
Turn down the toads, bro, I say, dude.
Hello?
P. Morse, dude, the big man, P. Morse. So, P. Morse, when did, I'll ask Bill's question for him real quick, but when did do you remember when exactly you came into the film?
Oh, yeah, you guys were already, like, cast and everything. I think Bill Jakes got me into it. He says, Bill's like, I got someone for you for Carlos, and then I grew my real mustache and never got used in the film.
Yeah, I remember that. We prefer fake mustaches on the set of DJ Stan the Man.
Sure.
I can't bear to see a mustache get shaved at the end of the day, so I prefer all fake mustaches across the board. But yeah, I remember you had. I seen a picture of you that was very Carlos-y, so we brought you in, and it was a great vibe. I remember originally Carlos was supposed to be a deep Italian, because that was.
Oh yeah.
I think so, because that was, which would have worked as well, because it was based off.
I could have played that too.
Italian type kid in the DJ world, I remember. But to go back to you saying the thing about losing that actor, oh boy, I forgot all about that actor. This actor, no names. We took the oath, the secrecy oath. But I remember
I never knew anything about him.
Nobody does.
I never knew anything about him. Nope.
Me in the beginning. Me and Mike Calvin brought this guy out to the Cheesecake Factory for dinner, and he was going to play the character, and we sat down with him. We talked about the character, the script. He was loving it. You know, everything was cool. We bought him dinner. We shook hands. And what was it, like a week later? Maybe even later that night. It was something crazy. It was one of those weird flips where when Frankie gets in, remind me to talk about, there was somebody else in the post-production that did a crazy flip like that. There was an editor. Mike, you'll love this story. There was an editor that did the same type of flip on that. But yeah, he smiled, shook our hands, was like, can't wait to start, man. Like he was the best performance of his life. Should have got an Oscar for lying to me and Mike. And then we bought him dinner, sent him off on his way, and it could have been that night. He was like, not gonna do it. And I was like,
oh yeah, what did you do? Say thanks for the dinner and that was it.
Yeah, chewing through.
I don't delete and block and erase people from my life too often. I think he got them fucking. I think I deleted him from my life after that moment. I was so pissed because we went out there. Dude, you know,
it was far too. It was a long drive. I mean, everything else aside, it was like an hour drive to go meet him halfway or something.
I didn't want somebody that tall. I twisted up my vision. I twisted up my vision for that tall guy. Yeah, that was crazy. So then that happened, but I'm glad it happened because we got Peter, which is a better deal.
Exactly. Yeah. Much better off.
No, thank you.
Now, actually, a quick question I have with Peter is with Carlos, DJ, and that whole thing. It seems like there was definitely that. I don't know why, but I saw, was Raul Julia anywhere in your thought process of the character? Because for some weird reason,
Raul Julia?
Yeah, for some weird reason, when I saw you perform, I don't know why, but Raul Julia came in my head. Was he filtered anywhere in there whatsoever? There's kind of like a coolness of almost like that Latino, and I always thought of Julia as one of the great ones. I don't know if he was ever in your thoughts.
Well, I never played a DJ or I never played a Spanish person, which is funny because when I was in the military, people talk to me Spanish all the time. I'm like, dude, I'm not Spanish. But I mean, no, I would look at like for some roles, I'd always research attitudes, but actually I didn't look at Raul. But yeah, I know I could see him, what you're saying as far as the way the role was played.
Yeah, no, but I just wasn't, because I know how like certain actors perform where, did you already have a knowledge of some of the DJing stuff beforehand, or did you really have to take a quick little one-on-one course in the DJing?
I didn't. I knew nothing about it. I would just watch how DJs would do stuff, and they up there, or I watch them from going to clubs, and they're just up there dancing and talking and just blabbing on and having a good time and enjoying themselves. I said, okay, that's how I'll do it.
Because there's a real hype element to the character, which I love. It's almost like that little John, type of character that. Yeah, the swag. Yeah, exactly.
Plays a part in all the characters. I think all the characters have their own swag to them, whether it's DJ, Carlos, Frankie, even Wesley. And they have their own vibe and feel to them. You know what I mean? And I can kind of see where you're going with the Raul Julia thing. I think it's just kind of that, that Latino, Spanish like swag type deal that comes into play because he's a very suave. Like the whole deal with Carlos is he was a DJ on the come up that was like this hot new DJ, that Stan was afraid of coming in on his territory, which he was, you know what I mean? But the only DJing I think Peter actually did in the film was at the strip club scene.
Right, yeah.
Big O Titties logo designed by Mike Calvin.
Yeah. B.O.T.
And I would have believed that Peter was DJing his whole life when I seen him. That's how great an actor he is. He's up there.
Well, he sells it because, you are the character. And I think some people can come into a role where I think have a general idea of what they're doing. And some people are like, I own this. I already know what I'm doing. And that's what I love about you as an actor, Peter, is how you just dive right into it and just have that, gravitas about you. And you just, some people know how to work character and some people don't. And I think you just owned it.
I had no clue on what I was doing.
But you enjoyed it, and you just, it sounds like from the enjoying and diving into it, just having that real WTF mentality, it helps sell the character so much.
Yeah, you got to try to make the role your own, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun character. Carlos is a character people like too. He's the villain, so you're not going to catch too many you usually catch the people that liked acting, that like the villains, because they like the people that they're not supposed to like them, you know what I mean?
DJ Stan the Man has kind of a reversed character structure in that DJ Stan the Man, like if you look at it from just a completely neutral, if you're just an alien that doesn't know anything about, like doesn't appreciate charisma and personalities or anything like that, like everything that Stan does is demonstrably bad. He's just a bad guy doing bad things, but people like him because he's charming. and then Carlos Fun, I mean, not that he's like really virtuous, but he's not doing anything wrong. He's just a guy that's just doing his job, and then DJ Stan the Man comes and just starts like interfering in his life. Even so, he's the antagonist, but he's not like a villain at all.
He is more likable like than DJ. If you would have to deal with one of them, you'd want to deal with Carlos.
I've always thought of him. I always thought of the character as almost like when Negan came onto The Walking Dead. Even though he's supposed to be the bad guy, he's still likable, and that's kind of how I always kind of saw, in some weird way, the character.
The Carlos thing I always looked at as there was a little bit of like pity there in a way, and pity might be the wrong word, but you feel bad for him because Carlos really just wants DJ to like him at the end of the day. That's really all he wants from it. Now Carlos is a life of the party guy. He's the guy that goes into a party, you see somebody sad in the corner. He's the guy that goes over and says, "Hey man, you should be happy, have a drink." That's Carlos. Chase is the guy that goes over and goes, "Why is he upset?" and then goes and makes it worse. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Greg House in DJ Stan, which is kind of one thing I like. I kind of saw in the character, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Fun.
And I remember do you remember the first time you were on set, Peter? What scene you were shooting?
Yeah, that's when I had the real mustache. That's.
Yeah. Was that the bed? In the bed.
That was at the gym, it was at the gym, and
Yeah. Okay.
Where was that? New Bedford? I don't know what that.
Wareham, I think. I think that was Wareham.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nexus, the fine folks of Nexus Gym, martial arts and gym.
Yes, that's it.
What was
Yeah,
his name,
we
Mike?
used to.
Jim? His name Jim?
Steve Whittier.
Steve Whittier.
Yeah, good people.
Great guy. He's gone on to do big things. He's like big in the UFC community now.
I didn't know he ever wasn't.
He could have been big then too. I don't know. I remember being a great guy, which is the key to everything in life. Great guy first, but I've seen him take pictures with Dana White like ringside and stuff. So he's like in there. He's in the mix. Good guy. Yeah, we shot. He trained Chase too. Chase reached behind the scenes without me or Mike's acknowledgement. Chase reached out to certain people for one of them was for free membership to the gym to train him. Oh, that's not the best one. Is he went to a dentist and he got his teeth whitened for like a special thanks or something ridiculous in the movie. Yeah, they never got that special thanks either. So they might come
No happy ending.
one day. Next time he maybe has no teeth, they came for him. That's why he's not on video.
They had to repossess.
Imagine that. That'd be funny. I'd laugh at that.
I want those back.
I want those teeth back. Imagine that. That'd be fun. But yeah.
Back now, right out. Right back.
Yeah, I remember the hoopla. I know Peter, there was a day, maybe more than one day, but I remember there was a day that Peter showed up, and I'll never forget it. He could have been at a softball game, and he came to shoot with us, and in the madness of everything, we didn't get to his scene, and he missed the softball game. I'm still sorry, and 5 years later, more than 5 years later, that still haunts me.
No, don't worry about it. It's I committed to it, man. Once I commit to something, that's I'm
Yeah,
yours.
but I should have had the equal commitment for you that day to make sure you got used. I apologize.
Nah, I take it.
It's one of those things when you make these no budget films, folks. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're gonna bring in another actor real quick here. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Bill, did you have any other questions for Peter before? There'll be questions for everybody as people get in, but I know that somebody was kind of at a time restraint.
Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I don't have. I mean, I'm cool at moving along. Pete, is there anything you would want to just touch base on real quick?
No, I just enjoyed it all. I'm just happy to be in the craft. I love it. Do what I can to help out, and I enjoy it all.
Now, speaking of pictures, real quickly, didn't a picture of you as Carlos Fun get you a gig in something else? If I remember.
It may have, Matt.
If I remember, the Boston Strangler gig. I think I remember you saying that they seen that picture, but I could be wrong.
They
I
may
took
have.
that picture.
That's why you got it, yeah. I'm trying to be well-rounded. Ladies and gentlemen, John Pierce has entered the building over here. John Pierce, how you doing?
Doing well, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. This man cut down one of his eyes for the benefit of the movie.
I
He
just
took
got
away
my
one of
sight
his
back. Just got it back. Hey, by the way, I talked to Chase.
Yeah.
He's in quarantine for 3 to 5 years. He'll be back shortly, though.
I believe that.
They wouldn't let him out to do the show even with an ankle bracelet,
He's got a neck bracelet and wrist bracelets now, too, I heard.
The wrist
Doesn't he
bracelets
have
get
to
an auto
stand up and
action.
use the computer?
I'm a hula hoop. Jay should be locked up in a cell somewhere, so he can't hurt nobody anymore.
Exactly.
Poor guy. So Chase, thanks for. Hopefully you're at home watching this on Christmas, being like, I wish I was involved. You could have been. It was so close, so close.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Pierce, how'd you get involved up in this film? Do you remember?
Yeah, you and I were just talking one day, and you mentioned that you were looking for somebody, and I said, hey, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, me and John met on the set of Coyne, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
John, when you were coming into the role, did you know that you were going to have one eye shut off, or?
Yeah, I did. I had my wife keep punching me in the face every day for about a month before, just so I could, couldn't see that good. So I did have to cover it up, really.
So you were really method about it, just
Yes,
having
that's method acting. Yeah, exactly.
Was it when there was a famous strip club scene that everybody loves so much?
Oh yeah, they didn't know what was going on behind the scenes though.
Oh yeah, well, give us a little inside scoop of what was happening behind the scenes.
First, you know how on the set you're supposed to give colored liquid and stuff to drink.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't colored liquid. That was the real thing. And we had Mr. Chase was on a toot there. I think he had to Uber out of that place, if I don't mistake. And then our poor departed friend there, the lap dancing guy, Pete, he was involved in it also. So I don't think he was feeling any pain when he left, because I kept hitting him with the real drinks. That's why it took so many takes to do it, because Chase was thirsty.
I remember Chase got worried at one point. He said, he put some ice in this drink. I said, don't worry, just pull the ice out of it, dude. It'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't want no water going into his system.
Right, exactly.
Chase is a priest now. He's a priest, so everything's okay.
Oh, my God. What, devil's disciples or what?
He's a monk. He's had the haircut for years.
Yeah.
Finally
He's
catching
gonna
up.
he's gonna join Cat Stevens.
Yeah, exactly. I know
Find
he's been practicing celibacy. It's easy for me to say, not on his own free will, though.
Chase would say that's easier to say than do.
Exactly. You got it.
Good old Chase Carson. I used to play soccer with John Pierce's kids back in the day, his sons.
Yeah.
The twins.
Oh yeah, nice.
Going way back, green team style.
Yeah. Why don't you give him my age and stuff too?
Well, I got his social security numbers is flashing on the screen. The only thing I ever won a trophy for in my existence is that playing for that team, and they spelled
Really?
my name wrong.
You're a hero in all our eyes, man.
Oh, thanks, bud. I appreciate that. I'll send you a nice birthday present.
I'm sure.
All that good
I
stuff.
think he wants a Christmas present too.
Yeah, just don't have Hauck deliver it.
Oh, why not? I'm almost halfway looking like Santa Claus.
Yeah, dyslexic Santa.
Alex will be sending everybody his new movies for Christmas, so everybody can know what he's doing.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, like I said, Hauck's doing it big, dude. He's going all over the country and stuff, killing it.
Yeah, filming in Las Vegas only a few months ago.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's leaving the country soon.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Not traveling on
Well, I have to leave before my creditors catch up with me.
I think you're traveling because you're on the lam.
I wouldn't doubt it, especially knowing Hauck.
Yeah, those kids.
Physically, I've seen him physically on the lam, if you know
Exactly.
Oh, I like the lamb chop.
Lamb.
what I mean. Hauck, where are you going? Where are
Look
you
at Hauck. He looks like he's on the spam.
Only email spam.
Yeah.
Hauck, where you going, Bang?
Bucharest.
Bucharest, yeah.
Wow.
You come back from there or no?
Hmm?
You ever come
I'm
back?
planning
from
on
there?
coming back from
Can
there.
you spell that for me?
Oh, no, I can't. I'm a little dyslexic
Hauck,
with that.
If you're going to Bucharest, you're probably going to be filming. I wouldn't be surprised in one of Charlie Van's establishments, because he was one of the first to basically bring the studio system, the Hollywood system, to Bucharest and eastern parts of, Europe, building studios. But that's really cool.
Possibly,
Congratulations.
I mean, that would be cool. Definitely.
Yeah, because I believe they filmed I think that was Romania for Transformers 5 with David Nutter, who went on to become the biggest director doing Game of Thrones, all this TV stuff. But but Eastern Europe really became a hotbed for filming in the early 90s, because the fall of Ceausescu, if I'm saying the name right, really kind of terrified certain filmmakers to come in immediately afterwards and start filming. But Subspecies was one of the first films to come in, and they made those films, and but times were changing, But hopefully, you have an awesome time when you're over there in Bucharest filming, buddy.
Yeah, he'll be all right. I'm just joking. He'll make it back safe.
If not, you'll be coming after me. You'll come in like the White Knight on the steed to save me, right, Matt?
If Alex never comes back and you miss him, you can order a pair of boots made with the skin of Alex Hauck.
All right, I'll dress and I'll come in black and do the black ops to get you.
Awesome. I like it.
I'm with Peter. We're going to jump off helicopters and save Alex.
Yeah.
Is that the Tom Sizemore movie?
No. It's another movie. Can't really say much about it at this point.
Fair enough.
But just shooting it in Bucharest, and when more things are available for knowledge, I'll let people know more. But right now, that's all I can say.
Yeah, plus you got to be careful filming with Tom Sizemore, especially if you're around butane tanks, because he likes throwing those things, from what I hear.
Before John Pierce popped in, Bill Coyne was talking about the bathroom scene.
I was just going to say, I can't stay long. My toilet's clogged because I got to get out of here, and it's still been clogged from that day you guys filmed that scene.
Yes. John Pierce
I'm
also.
sorry.
That was disgusting.
Experience.
Actually, you did a good job cleaning it up for the shoot.
But I mean, that bathroom scene was incredibly tight.
Yeah, very tight.
When it comes to filming that, I mean, were you guys trying to avoid being in mirrors? I mean, how many people were actually in there? I mean, I would love to know how actually tight that scene was, because it's just so impressive. Because when you look at it, it's like they're filming in a closet, but you don't see anything.
We had to keep it at absolute bare minimum of people, obviously. So if I remember right, Matt, Tell me if I'm wrong. I think it was just 3 of us in there, right?
Yeah, I think
It
it
was
might
you,
even.
me, and Tyler.
I think at times it might even have been just you and Tyler too. I was there for the effect. I don't know if maybe I was in the shower. I was standing in the shower maybe.
I think you're right. Sometimes it was just me and Tyler, and then when sometimes we just couldn't do it with 2 people. So you came in to do the practical effects and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that was actually that was probably our only scene that we didn't have anyone holding a boom at all.
Yeah.
But it was a small enough room that I just put a shotgun mic on my camera and just used that, and it made no difference because the camera was never more than 2 feet away.
One of my favorite shots is that going by the railing shot leading into the bathroom. I like that a lot. We only had how long? We were there for 6 hours or so.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Yeah, we got a lot for the time that we were in there. We definitely got a lot of stuff.
My wife and I that's funny because my wife and I were in the bedroom right next door having sex, and we didn't even know. You guys didn't even know it. Actually, she didn't know it either.
It's healthy.
We also had we only had a day to be in the strip club too. We got all that stuff in a day.
That was tight.
All gear stuff that house. What else, Mikey? Do you remember any other days we had limited time?
Yep, at the funeral home.
Yes.
That was all one day. That wasn't as big of a shoot though. I mean, that was doable in one day, but it was packed. But the strip club scene was, I mean, if we could have had 2 days, it would have been 2 days, but we didn't have any choice. So what could we do?
If it was 2 weeks, I would have been there. I was down.
Yeah. If Chase was here, he'd be saying, "Greatest day on set ever," or whatever his saying is.
Yeah.
It was a good day.
It was fun. I mean, we were kind of you guys could kind of enjoy it a little bit more than me and Mikey because we were kind of running and gunning to get it going.
There was not a spare second on
But
that.
we're the excitement of capturing all that production value was key. Cindy Lou, we got to give huge shout out to Cindy Lou. She was going to be on. She might not be coming till a little later, but big shout out to Cindy Lou. She got us the club. She got us all the dancers, and that getting that club and all those dancers is not something we could have afforded at all.
Right.
We could barely afford gas to get the fucking Fall River. You know what I mean? So yeah, big thanks for her on that. And yeah, that was a really fun day. Killed it. That funeral home, I think they waked Aaron Hernandez got waked at that funeral home after we shot there.
Wow.
That was fun. That scene, I love how that scene surprises people because they're not expecting what happens. That's always a good deal. But yeah, I was hoping to get Frankie up in here and do again because he had a lot of behind the scenes stuff too, where he helped set a lot of stuff up, and we had him earlier. I might have to go hit him up in a little bit, but Peter, you got the guitar out, man?
I do.
We're gonna need a musical break in a little bit.
You know what happens? I'm in my basement, so I'm just freaking fucking around.
I'm with it.
I pick up a guitar whenever I can.
Yeah, it's the way to do it. Stay creative, you know what I mean? During the vid especially.
Oh, can you hear it?
I can hear it a little bit.
Actually, was the strip club in Massachusetts, or did you guys film in out of state for that?
That was Fall River. I think it was on New Bedford. Maybe New Bedford.
Yeah.
So it was in Massachusetts where you.
That was the Foxy Lady.
Oh, the
No,
Fox
it
Lady?
No,
It was
it
called
wasn't, right?
we don't want to say a name because you know how the business is. But let's just say that if you're looking for an Easter egg hunt, you might be able to find the logo in the film. That's all I'll say.
That was the Lady Foxes.
And I probably at the Lady Foxes. We'll go with the Lady Foxes. Yeah. Those big old titties is what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. That was probably one of our best production value. The film we held out for certain locations that we didn't want to cheapen, you know, the funeral home being one of them and the strip club being another, because you'll see a lot in low budget films, you'll see people try and, you know, turn a living room into a strip club with a coffin, like a cardboard coffin, you know what I mean? So we really wanted to, you know, take the time to do it, you know what I mean? Do it right. For the most part, we got a lot of these hookups for free, you know, but it took time to wait for them. You know, all those locations were free, but we just had to wait until they fell into our lap, kind of. We looked for them, but we had to wait for we came across the right person. You know, the limo service, we got that limo for free. Half the time we got that VFW hall, half of the time we got that. We got that like for free half the time. We started paying, of course, and we eventually started becoming regulars, and we had like holdups with issues, and they were kind of to us because they knew of the issues we were rolling through. But yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people, the kindness of a lot of people is what got the film made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, production, you know, really boils down to patience. And, you know, and I think sometimes when you are allowed to go into a certain place, you might not know when, but when you get that window of like, okay, we can go in now. And of course, we're going to be respectful and we're going to do what we can while we're here. And, you know, it's some people, I mean, it's wonderful how some people like, oh, that was such a quick shoot and it was only a few hours. And some people will be like, man, this is taking forever. But it's the people who are just setting up, who are there, you know, you have the producers and everyone, because you guys have to be the first ones there. And when you leave, 9 times out of 10, you always want to make the place look better than when you first come in there, and, you know, than when you're supposed to. So it's like you have these very tight windows of times, you know, when you're filming. What would you say were some of the most intensive dialogues you felt like, we're only here for an X amount of time, like we have to, you know, we have to get out of here soon? Were there ever any scenes that were like, we just really need to like try to, you know, finish this, where we got to be out of here soon?
Well, I'll say that the only time, no names, the only time I've ever had to stop a scene because the person couldn't handle dialogue was a scene in DJ. A community actor, an actor within the community, so I won't ruin their Christmas by mentioning a name, but, you know, it was so bad that like their line was like, hey, DJ Stan the Man, and I remember like they actually wrote it on their hand and couldn't remember DJ Stan the Man. Now, this person, we're at a VFW, so this person went downstairs into the bad place of the VFW. And he indulged in drinks. So when he came back up, he couldn't quite do his deal. So that was, I'd say the toughest dialogue for me would probably be that scene, because I remember no matter how hard we attempted, and I've been in situations with actors, they forget lines or they become difficult or they just can't quite get there with something and you got to help them with it. And that's kind of fine. But like this situation was just, there was no hope at the end of this tunnel. So it was just pull the plug. And I've never had to do that, but I've always kind of pulled people aside and worked it out with them. But this person was just like, it wasn't happening. You know what I mean? So I'd say that for dialogue for me was, yeah.
You had some trouble with actors dropping out too after a while, correct?
We had multiple levels of that sadness. You know, we had our biggest hit. We had an actor that was a part of the film. He was playing one of the main assistants in the film, and we shot like half the movie or so with him, maybe a little more. And you know, a weird situation came up, and he, you know, wanted to be a part of the film, so we left the film. Very unfortunate, because we were hoping that it would, you know, there was something that kind of came up, and we were hoping it wouldn't affect our film, and unfortunately it did. So he left, and we had to go recast, and we got Eddie Nason was, I believe, the recast which I think, you know, Eddie has unfortunately couldn't be here with this, but Eddie's doing really good for himself right now, and he's a great kid. Tyler too couldn't be here, great kid. Super talented guys. So I mean, we went through some headaches, but I'm happy with who we ended up with at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know,
You pursued and you kept going. Listen, I do have to go, but Billy,
Yes.
Billy, I like your hair. I didn't know PetSmart was still doing hair for humans there. It's a very nice job.
Absolutely.
I want to wish you guys all a very Merry Christmas and all our audience a Merry Christmas.
John, thank you.
And I will be touching base with you guys soon.
We'll have you on a show soon.
Over and out, brother.
Merry
Hi,
Christmas.
John.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
You too.
As one goes, one arrives. Nikilette will be coming into the fray soon. But yeah, do any of you guys remember any scenes that dialogue was really tough to kind of? Hey, Nikilette, how you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, anytime. we were talking. We were asked a question about dialogue scenes in the film, so we're kind of rolling through that. If anybody, whether with Mike it was a situation where you remember somebody had difficulty, or maybe with some of the cast, maybe it was a time you had some difficulty or seen somebody having some difficulty.
I remember. Hey, you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
No.
I had to reboot my headphones. They were being weird, and I wasn't sure. Anyway, I remember a
Sexy as
time
ever.
I felt so guilty because I ruined like a couple of takes, and that was
My bed
first-
scene.
Huh?
My bed scene. No, just kidding. That was a tough one for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was one in the bathroom at the function hall, and I couldn't stop myself laughing when Chase Carson, DJ standing there was supposed to be peeing on the wall, but of course we were using fake pee, and we didn't really we had a system for it. It was, I don't know, a tube or something.
That was the
Matt-
first conversation I had with Maddie about coming on the production.
Oh yeah.
Fake pee. I remember it was the fat suit and fake pee. I didn't know where the fake pee fit into play, but now it's starting to make sense.
I ended up making the fake pee too, Bill, so I don't know why we had that conversation.
I don't know why we had it either.
I like
you
that
were-
pee. It was nice.
You were probably the one working the fake pee on the
Yeah.
practical effects side, because that's you usually handle the practical effects on stuff, just filling in like that. And it was so much, and it just came out in this flood, and it was so inconsistent, and it would be like
The only thing that I remember was the scene with Joe Jaffo and Chase outside with the smoking of the marijuana. And I remember Mike talking about how it was so hard to get those takes with the smoke and making it like very with continuity and making it look like it was happening in that order. I remember him saying that that was a real challenge for him, and it came out phenomenal. It came out really, really good. That's my favorite scene.
I think
Thank
it's one
you.
of the strongest scenes in the film.
Yeah,
Me too.
that was fire.
Luckily, we shot that early.
Rest in
Yes,
peace.
we
Joe.
did.
We'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about it towards the end, and we're gonna do a little memoriam dealio. But yeah, that everybody loves that scene, and that was a great scene for dialogue. I kind of forgot about that. I remember Joe was having a little issue remembering the dialogue.
Yep.
So I remember we did put it in like the cart next to him.
Yeah, his lines.
And I remember telling him, take the hit, just kind of look off to the side and glance down. And he did it. And that's kind of like the things that I like about making movies so much, is like the magic week and hide stuff and fake it.
Yeah.
And I remember he was so proud of himself looking at that footage after, because like Joe got in his head a lot, I think. I think he put a lot of pressure on himself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he's seen it really come together, his big smile warms my heart right now. But yeah, that scene's great, dude. That was a great scene. I remember Joe telling me that was like his favorite scene he's ever been in at the time.
Yeah, it was great. I love that. I mean, I didn't have problems with my lines because I had so few.
Yeah, that's the
know.
best way to do it. That's
But
what I-
I had a great time. Matt, you were so generous with my role and even expanding it just a little bit more and allowing me to do the still photography as well. It was such an honor to be able to work on the film with you guys. Mike was really awesome with the filming and so gracious of giving me space to take photos as well. And I really appreciate that. So
appreciate
Well,
you.
we
was a
appreciate
lot.
your help.
Yeah,
It was so much fun. It was so much fun.
yeah. I mean, to go
I have
back.
such fun I have good memories of that,
Oh,
of
yeah.
of all the days of filming that I was a part of. I have such great memories. It's all good.
Yeah. I remember I had a cameo in the film, and I wrote the dialogue, and I can't remember dialogue to save my life. But I remember I didn't want anybody else
Oh
to get
man,
spit
number
on.
2.
I've got it here if you need it.
Hey, there it is.
Wow.
I couldn't ask somebody else to get spit on, so I got spit on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
That was a solid move. Cause
What the
yeah,
heck,
that's a big
man?
ask.
that was very pre-COVID, mind you.
Oh
Pre-COVID.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
Nowadays-
when they invented it. That was the moment.
That's why we got an R rating. In the future, that's why we got the R rating for the spitting scene.
Really?
Right, yeah.
Really? You think?
We have the R rating for giving Chase Carson attention in the world. That's why we got the R rating.
Oh my gosh.
Chase is with us, guys. He's right behind me. There it is. Oh.
There you go.
Oh.
Ah.
Hi, Chase.
Chase tried incredibly hard to be here today, but he couldn't get out of his own way. We love Chase. Merry Christmas. So, dialogue-wise, I know Nikilette touched on it. Hauck and Peter, did you guys have any issue with any dialogue memorizing anything or anything like that?
Go ahead, Alex.
Not that I can think of. I mean, luckily for the most part, and while I had a bunch of lines, they were like small lines, and then someone would talk, and then small lines, and I didn't have any lengthy like monologue. If I had a monologue, I might have stumbled a bit, but usually if I have nice, small, succinct lines, I'm able to stay on top of those. Yeah,
But
that's
Hauck,
why
it
I'm
almost
not a
seems like you
Shakespearean
have,
actor. I trip over doing monologues.
No, but Hauck, even though you say that, there was like, no matter how you cut it, there was these bursts of energy in your role where it kind of felt like somewhat unhinged, maybe not, like, is he actually, I don't know, but that's, I think, one of the great character things that you implemented, in your role.
Well, I'm always unhinged.
I've known you for 15 years, and I know how you are. But if people didn't know, but the character of Wesley, there was something very
Psycho.
He
There
was
was psycho about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the scenes that I remember that you did was with the video camera, and you're just like looking, and your eyes are like getting bulged out. And you're like, it's so freaky, but it's so perfect for that moment. And then in a car scene with Tyler, and then the house and all that.
What I'm
I mean,
impressed
it's
by.
funny. I mean, working at I work retail at CVS Pharmacy, and just I mean, from the things that I talked with Matt about the character, plus also different people that just come in, I just picked and chose different little crazy traits, and I just put them all together, and then and Wesley was created.
Well, actually, another question I have for you, Alex, is the car scene was your first time driving any vehicle, if memory serves correct.
Yeah.
Would you mind actually talking about what was it like to actually attempt to drive while dealing with the camera and all that type of stuff?
You gotta do it like inside the actor's studio, where they'd be like, "You gotta tell me what it was like to look at a child's face and read off that." Be like, "You gotta tell me what it was like
Alexander
to drive
Hauck,
a car. What
in
was
the
it
most
like?"
grand respects, of basically driving a vehicle for the very first time and having dialogue. May you please emphasize? Thank you.
Well,
James Corbin, whatever the hell his name is, from the Inside the
yeah.
Actors. Yeah.
Lipton.
As things happen, I actually I don't have a license. There's a whole long story behind that, but the fact was, I mean, it was definitely out of my comfort zone, but because Matt was there and he walked me through it, and I wasn't like on the road with any other vehicles.
Yeah.
So it was a nice experience because Matt walked me through what I had to do, and I was comfortable doing what I had to do, and it was kind of interesting experience, kind of doing that on set with the camera and all that. Of course, constantly going through my mind, don't crash and destroy the camera. Matt'll kill you, and Mike will kill you.
And Tyler. That was Tyler's
Yes.
car.
Yes. Yeah, Tyler was like, okay, you know what you're doing, right? I'm like, no, but we'll see what happens.
That must have been tense for both of you, since
Yeah.
you're both in the car. It's Tyler's car, and you're attempting to drive it. And I don't think people probably don't even realize it, but there were powerful lights shining in your eyes, and we were shooting at night.
Plus,
You
also the
couldn't
big
see
thing is
anything.
I was doing this without my glasses.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, which is one of the main reasons why I don't have a license is because of sight issues. So yeah, that was unnerving too. So so my character without glasses, driving the car. So that was an experience.
I'd love to see the expression on Tyler's face, especially with having no glasses on, and just because it wasn't a poor man's process. You weren't. I mean, you were actually driving.
Yeah. I was like, okay, let's see.
I can
Tyler's
tell you.
like, you know what you're doing, right? He's like white knuckling it the entire time. And it wasn't like we were going like any speed. We would slowly just coasting into the driveway.
Well, that's
As
good.
soon as the take ends and Tyler's not acting anymore, he starts grinning all the time. That's just the way he is. So that would be the look on his face.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was a nice touch. Yeah, I remember there's like 500 feet of road that you had to go down. I'm sure there's footage of you stopping, you know what I mean? Like brake job the whole way down. We got the one good take that we used.
Awesome.
You know what I mean?
Well, Alex, you're a fine driver. You did very well in that scene.
We got trash bags in the back of the car that we took for hours to align appropriately, and you could almost barely see them.
Yeah.
They're practically an Easter egg.
We have another superstar joining us.
Hey, could that be the great Frankie Imbergamo?
Hey, how you doing?
Frankel.
How you doing over there, bud?
I don't know what the hell happened. I was waiting, and then I had to go outside and get some move my car, and I
Put your video on so we can see you.
I sent him a thingy.
We'd love to hear about the origins of how you also came a part of the production as well, Frankie.
well, what happened when before this all started, I got a call. A friend of mine was supposed to do the part, another actor, Bob DeChico, and he couldn't do it. So he asked me if I was interested. So Matt Fisher came down and met me with the script, and we went over it. And this is how I got started in the movie. And then we did we went to Mike Calvin's house about a week later, and we did the scenes over there. The first scene there, and then we just progressed as we went along. And then the movie was a great experience, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
Because one thing we were also touching base on is, was there any particular moments of dialogue that, I think maybe might have been a little tricky to just really kind of have it naturally, kind of just
Yeah,
come.
there was the dialogue. With me and Peter Morse, we
Yes,
had a nice
Pete.
we had a nice conversation on the phone about when Stan the Man he was gonna get fired. Peter was taking his work away, and we were teaming up to try to get rid of Stan. And it was a nice conversation. He did a nice. Mike Calvin and Matt, they did a great job on that because when you look at the screen, they cut the screen in two, in half, and it was done very professional. I like that. That was a good scene.
Yeah,
Kind of like Frankie's face, it's like cut in half.
De Palma-esque doing that,
Yeah,
split
it
shot.
was nice. It was good. And then a lot of the scenes I had a lot of interaction with DJ Stan the Man that he was bothering everybody, and I was trying to calm him down, and every time I tried to calm him down, I ended up getting into a fist fight with him. So that was good. That was a funny part. I think everybody did a great job. I mean, there was no flaws in the movie. The movie really came out great. And Mike Calvin did a great job and Matt Fisher and all the people behind the scenes did a really good job. They worked hard, and all the actors did great. Even the background people, they did a good job in the wedding scenes out there. It was good,
Yeah, my son
Thanks,
was
Frankie.
in that. My son was in the wedding scene.
Yeah, he was.
As an extra, yeah. One of the scenes I loved that everybody kind of was in was the table. The table
yeah.
scene. That was so funny because the ragging on was just epic.
It was.
And I thought it was so well done by everybody had their little puns and things that they were saying. That was a
Nice.
great scene that I remembered from it.
That was a cool scene with in the wedding when we ordered prime rib and they gave us chicken. And, and there was a lot of things happening there. He was going crazy. Stan the Man was going nuts,
Absolutely.
And then then Alex they said we wanted a prime rib, and Alex would come out and say, "Bloody,
Bloody. I want bloody.
that was good, yeah." And
I have to say, my favorite scene with you, Frankie, has to be when you're with the camera and Larry DaCosta is giving you a hard time, and then Bill Jack shows up.
oh yeah, he says he thought I was gay. He says, "No, it's okay to be gay." I says, "I'm not gay, man." And he kept going, "Oh, he thought, and he kept ragging me back and forth, like going on, and that was a good scene. And then the little kid who's the kid? He grabbed the camera.
Yeah, he was one of Katie's sons.
Yeah, right. I told him I grabbed him by the neck. I didn't want to, I'm not hard, just to get a little scared. Don't touch the camera, Don't touch the cameras.
What happened?
But that was a good scene. That was a good scene with Larry DaCosta. We were talking about the Larry DaCosta scene at the wedding. Then Bill Jakes was dancing with me. Remember that was a part
I
of the
love
scene.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that scene. That's what you missed, man.
And we were talking about the table scene where everybody was kind of like, ragging on each other.
That was Mikey too, doing the choreographing, all that, flipping around. It's very Reservoir Dogs like. It was supposed to be like a take on Reservoir Dogs.
Tarantino-esque.
I love that scene. And it was so funny too. It was
Boogie Nights.
The dialogue was great.
Reference. Hell yeah.
And those 360 table shots are never easy, no matter how you cut them. I've probably done maybe 2 or 3 productions where I remember one production I was in, we went into Grindhouse, we literally stole the shot of them all at the table, sitting around, and we duplicated that for I forget what it was, but it was, but those camera table scenes you have to cover everyone, and you're lucky if you can really get a good 300. I mean, the Steadicam is really one of the great type of, tools, for something like that.
Which
Or
we
even
didn't have.
or even like having like those pie cams that you can set up in the middle of the tables. So like the Lazy Susan, where
yeah.
you're independently, controlling that. But there are so many different rigs and style of cameras that you can attach things to. But it's trial and error. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, but it's wonderful that it worked for you guys. Actually, that's a great question. What shots are you like most fond of for, your characters, whether if it's like your introduction shots, or is there like a silhouette shot or a certain shot
Most
you just
proud of?
really proud of? I'm really
That's a
proud
good
of you
question.
captured,
We'll ask everybody. That's
Yeah.
a good question. Who do you want to start, Bill?
Well, where I see on my screen, Alex is the first one.
Oh man, I was hoping to have a little time to think about this, but that's a good question. I think one of my actually my favorite scene in DJ Stand the Man, which is more of how it was shot and put together, was when I'm walking away and Tyler asked me if I can give him a ride home, and I really liked that because it had a lot of good coverage of me with Tyler talking, and caught a lot of good facial expressions that I didn't even know I was giving at the time, which is one of those things that when as an actor, you go with the role, and sometimes certain, tics or, traits, come out while you're doing that, you kind of do it subconsciously, and that, you don't realize until you watch it afterwards. And I have to say, I just love how it was put together, and especially at the end when I'm kind of like, doing a double take and then walk off, and Tyler's just like laughing because I'm just acting so weird that he doesn't even know how to really take it.
Yeah. I dig that. So that's your favorite shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's jump over to Peter.
Oh, well, from my porn star experience, I like the bed scene. I don't want to take anything away from Al or Frankie or Chase or Bill or anyone. No, but that, I don't know. I get to spend the time in bed with two different women, so it wasn't bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
No, it was probably my most back and forth dialogue I had in the whole film, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I had to do it with two different girls because I don't remember what happened to the first one. But I mean,
She got a better
but
offer.
huh?
She got a better offer, I think.
No, really, I enjoyed the whole thing. But I think that was probably the most challenging one for me because I had the most lines and the most dialogue, and I don't know why, I just feel that scene was a good scene. I think it came out good.
Yeah, it's something that you're particularly, I mean, of course you're proud of the role that you did, but it's just something, but that's something you're just particularly proud of a little more. That,
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't want to take it away. Me and Frankie, we all had some good, short, funny scenes. That one just, I don't know. I mean, I like the scene at the bar with Chase and John. That was a good one too.
Yeah.
It was all good. I mean, I don't know. I'm talking out my ass. I liked it all.
It was good.
Proud to be part of it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Nicolette? Is there a shot that you just love of yourself?
Of me? Well, I wasn't in it a whole lot, so I loved every scene I was in. So, but one scene that there's like two scenes that I really appreciate the technical part and the toughness of it was outside behind the hall, the wedding hall with Chase and Joe, where he's using the slide. That I remember Mike and I talking about. He's like, "This shot, I got this screen. Look at this thing, it slides." He was like so super stoked about it, and it was so cool. It like really made the film look so more more professional, like this indie film. Gave it that professional edge to it, which I really appreciated. And the other scene was when we were in the because I was there for a lot of Joe's scenes. So when we were in the kitchen, and he's got the AES system is coming down with the nozzles, and he's got that shot of Joe coming toward him. He's like, "You're gonna make kebabs," and and all that line about the kebabs and everything. And just that whole scene from talk about the pot and all that stuff, but really that scene where those nozzles are done, because I was literally standing under him taking pictures, and that was probably that was a fun time for me personally to see all of this different scenes coming to fruition and then piecing them together, because they were shot at 2 different times too. So that's probably for me, that was probably the best one.
Really cool. And Frankie, how about you? Is there a scene that you are particularly fond of?
Well, I think like one of the best scenes in the movie would have to be the funeral scene in the
Yes.
funeral parlor. Because when we did those shots that you guys took in there, Mike and Matt, it came out so perfect. Like it was like, because it was a real funeral parlor.
Right.
It wasn't a makeup, makeup type thing. Most of these people that do indie films, they have these makeup type funeral scenes and wakes and all that. But this was done very professional, and even though I'm not supposed to see, I did see the people because I was the one in the coffin. So I was the one. I like the scene when Alex visited the coffin, and he looked and he was burying jewelry in there. And then he makes then he pulls out a cell phone camera. He takes a picture of me. That was so cool.
I gotta get the pictures from my scrapbook. All the funerals I go to.
That was a good scene. That was one of the best scenes. It came out so nice on the big screen. Like when you see like that scene with the funeral in the inside the funeral parlor.
Yeah.
Like it looked like it was done very, very well. Like really professional.
Yeah, I mean, we were sitting before you popped in, and we say thank you to Frankie for getting us that location. A lot of the production value, some of the locations that we got, whether it be the funeral home or the strip club and stuff, is like that's kind of the stuff that really helped. Mikey shooting it beautifully crisp. You guys acting incredibly well, and the production value we got to fill it with, I think, is like a testament to it and why it shines. You know what I mean? Frankie, I thought you were going to bring up the scene of you freaking out by the car. That was fun. That was a fun one to shoot when you were.
Yeah, that came out nice. Yeah.
What I liked a lot about that is that I think Frankie was getting a little unsure with himself on how to do the scene, and we got to kind of work it out a little bit. And I think he wasn't as mobile with it in as he was in the beginning, is when we talked about it and really got to get that kind of anger out of him, because Frankie's not an angry dude, you know what I mean? He's very calm, mellow, you know what I mean, guy. He never see him angry. So to actually make him angry was kind of fun, you know what I mean?
That's bullshit. He's a postman.
But that's where I always find the fun of the movies is the trickery and the making things work type deal. You know what I mean? Am I next up, Bill, or is it Mikey?
Yeah, we covered all the talent. Let's go with Mike, and
cover all the talent. We'll go with Mike. That was horrible.
Then the rest.
We covered all the performers, I guess we could say.
I think
and
I remember
we'll
Mike Calvin's favorite
transition over to the production, the producers. What is Mike Calvin's favorite shot in the movie?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
My favorite shot is when DJ Stan is being confronted by the guy with the big scar down the side of his head.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and then so if I remember right, I think it was a pretty straightforward shot, reverse shot at the beginning of that scene. But then it cuts. Stan grabs him by the lapel and pulls him in over that like barrier between them and his whole DJ thing. Pulls him off balance, pulls him by the lapel, and it cuts to a two-shot profile of the two of them. And I don't know if I planned, I don't know before I shot it if I thought like, oh, this is going to be a hell of a shot. But then after when I was watching it, like, oh man, this is the best shot. And I guess I get to choose from all of them because I wasn't in any of it, but I shot all of it. So I think that's the best one. Mixture of like the light playing off of a couple of bald guys' heads.
Yeah.
And a lot of blacks and brights.
Yeah, the
Well,
light.
I remember, I think that's part of that scene was supposed to be storyboarded because I remember I was talking to Maddie about doing the effects because I remember there was the scar coming off.
Yeah.
And I think I saw some boards that were really impressive. They were amateur boards, but they were impressive just by design. So I was really impressed how that scene actually came out. I didn't do the effect, but I remember seeing it.
Yeah, the lighting is lighting's a character in the film, you know, with all the party lights. Me and Mike knew we wanted to have that vibe. It was a party vibe, you know what I mean? To keep it going, so to speak. You know, it's got a lot of pinks and purples and, you know, fun colors like that. I thought Mike was gonna say that scene. I think it's after he pays Tyler and they're outside the VFW. Like the lighting of it a lot, where they were like out under that light.
I wish I thought of it. Can I change my
you always
answer?
liking that shit.
Yeah. Oh man.
I
might have to go with that one. You can use that one if you want, man.
Yeah. No. I got two other ones. Yeah.
Let me give me 10 more seconds to elaborate on that one.
For sure.
That was like a one-shot scene where it's all one continuous thing. I think the camera barely even moves in it, and it's just the characters moving in and out, and there's a lot of depth because you're looking kind of up a set of stairs in the shot, and characters kind of come down the stairs and go up the stairs, and like two of them meet in the middle. It was very good. Plus, being the fact that it was a white building that we shot outside at night with floods, undiffused. So it was like really like hard, contrasty lines.
The lighting in the wedding, like that scene, that clubby kind of feel, it really set the tone for it, and it really gave it a richer feel because that hall is pretty stark and kind of flat, but those lights and the way it was working really made it and gave it the depth and the feel that you guys are looking for. It really filled it up, and the photos that came from it too are great as well.
Yeah.
I know Mike
it really projects it in a big bad way. You know what you're getting into because it's just how the vibrancy and the consistency where some of these spots might have been filming might not have been that big or huge, where with the people that you do have, of course, you know, you're able to film it in a way where it just makes it look much more grand than, you know, it actually is.
If you pay attention to it, each wedding has its own color scheme. That's one of the things me and Mike wanted to kind of, we behind the scenes, you know, we probably did it to keep track of, you know, shooting wise, you know what I mean, to make sure that it was all different colors. But, you know, that was the deal with that. You get Eddie Mahoney bringing over different colored drinks too. Whenever I think of color, I always think of the clear drink in one scene and his neon green in the other. My two favorite shots from the film I wrote down is there's a pullback shot with Frankie and Bill Jacks where the shot's on Chase and he's talking on the microphone and he's talking like, you know, you crazy kids, and the camera like pulls back to the point where Chase and now they're in the frame too. I love that shot a lot. I remember Mike can attest. I was always saying like a Boogie Nights shot for the wedding stuff, we really wanted that alive vibe that you get with Boogie Nights, where everything's moving. I always love moving camera myself. And then the last shot of the film, I like that a lot because we faked it. The shot of him at the strip club, the very last scene is supposed to be the same window that you see Peter in as Carlos Fun earlier in the film. But we created that whole thing where it's just a piece of plywood. We built a wall on like a plastering structure. There was like two floors high, and we built it, and we cut out the hole. We painted it black. We put the lighting behind Chase. So we're in my family's backyard shooting that scene. And the way that it cuts into the film, it looks like you were back at the club. Like, I love that. Like, the magic like that is my favorite parts of the stuff. But for sure, I love the whole movie. There's so many great shots in the whole thing, but those two are probably my favorite off the top of my head. For sure.
I mean, everything has a real authentic feel. I mean, it doesn't look like you were really like putting up, like fabric in the background where, you're kind of mirroring something that really isn't even there, where you're completely, but I mean, you were fortunate enough to get all locations.
Yeah.
And of course, like you're saying, that's no small feat. I mean, there's the waiting game that deals with that. But the production did take a little while to do from a production standpoint.
Yeah.
Do you think some people were a little frustrated? Because I know how there were some people, unfortunately.
Yeah, everybody was.
Yeah.
From the top to the bottom, I think everybody got frustrated with it. You know what I mean?
But
People that showed up one day to do PA work to the highest on the project all felt the burn, because it's like we all feel like when something gets like fucked up on the movie, it hurts everybody. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the painful thing of it is like that. People don't think of that as like, if somebody pulled out of a movie trying to hurt, like let's say if an actor pulled out of a movie trying to hurt me, they're not thinking about the other people dedicating their time that they're hurting as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people are definitely upset across the board, and rightfully so. Like, it took a long time to shoot. These things take time. We're trying to do it on a budget that was ridiculous when you really think of it. When you think of anything being made, the money that for how good I feel, and other people comment on how good DJ looks and plays out as a film. Like, for the budget it was made for, like, you hardly ever catch that quality with that caliber of budget. You know what I mean? And I applaud everybody with that. I'm not trying to take any credit for that at all. That's it's more technical stuff like Mike's camera work and the actors. You know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely think people were upset and frustrated, rightfully so. I was myself, but it was kind of one of those things. It's just like, what are you gonna do? Quit? Like, you're gonna quit, and then that leaves everybody even more upset, because whatever they're upset about to begin with now isn't even getting finished.
But that's how it is, because being a director, if you lost sight, then the whole production would have lost sight. But the thing is, there are productions, like, I think the great analogy is Phantasm, because it took over a year, and they filmed on weekends, and it took a few years to actually do physical production. But either way, once you finish that and there's that light at the tunnel, then it's like, finally, and I think people get excited once again for the production, because now they know something is coming to completion. So when it comes to principal photography, how long was it overall?
That we shot for?
Yeah, that you shot for.
Was it 3 years, maybe more?
That's a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a while.
I remember
At least 3 years.
Yeah, but either
you
way,
have to bring out the doll and ask me show me on the doll where DJ Stan the Man finished. You know what I mean? It's like
but
that
that's
type
how
of
it is with some productions, because some people, I think, would love to have the luxury of having the budget there in place, or if they don't, they can bang everything out in 5-6 days and hopefully make a feature out of it. But some people have to go the other route of doing the weekend shoots. It's just different. It doesn't make it any better or any different.
I I have more respect for the filmmakers that take the time, because you can rush it and do it maybe not half-assed, but like not the way it could be. Or you could take, like with us, I felt like we had our snags and stuff, but there was definitely circumstances where we took that time for the right reasons to be able to get the proper location or the proper thing that we needed, because we didn't want to do a funeral home in my basement, you know what I mean? We didn't want to do a strip club in someone's garage. So like there's certain times where we let it, you know, we kind of waited for the right opportunities, you know what I mean? But there was definitely hassles and headaches along the way, you know what I mean?
I think we reshot probably 30% of the movie, and that was a real kick in the balls for getting it done.
Morale. I mean, yeah, that kills morale. Like, you got to figure we're blessed enough to have a lot of people, pretty much almost everybody, show up for free out of the kindness of their hearts. They're losing their days. They're spending money on gas to get there. And then when, you know, and that's awesome and nothing but respect for those people. And then when you turn around and you have to ask them to try and do that again, like it's terrible just to have to say that to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, we knew how terrible it was to confront cast and be like, yo, guys, like, we hate to say it, dude, but we got to do it again, you know? And it's out of our hands. Of course we would. If we could just snap our fingers and have things like work, it would work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not the way it goes.
Well, I think I was really grateful that we had the wedding hall again, and I thought, Matt, I thought you really handled it like awesome. You really handled it well. You were clear in your communication. You were obviously very gracious about it, and you were apologetic, and you really, I think it's because you cared so much, not just for your film, but for everyone that was a part of it. And that made the difference because it showed in the way that you reacted and how you took care of the situation. That's how I saw it. And I was more than happy to do it and reshoot it and do whatever needed to be done because, you know, I wanted to be a part of it as much as anybody else did to make this a success and have you get to where you wanted to get with it. And I just appreciate everybody that took the time to do that. But you handled it with grace and really were great with that. So I appreciate that.
Well, I thank you. Right. It's all you really can. You got to kind of, even Mike can attest to us, and Frankie and Alex, who were kind of more behind the scenes, there was really some tough times getting through that film. You know what I mean? But I don't think quitting was ever an option, you know, for any of us. But it was tough. There was definitely some serious time. I remember with Chase, talking to Chase Carson on a financial level of it. I remember even talking to Chase years ago about it being like, I remember times when like the movie was announced and we kind of had, this is kind of another thing that hurt us with the time, is there was a period of time where the community actually supported the film. You know what I mean? Like every now and then the film will, in the independent zeitgeist, will actually get supported by like a big group of people. And unfortunately with the reshoots, I felt like we had that support at one point, but I feel like by the time the film came out, we lost that support. So that was unfortunate. You know, I forget where I was going with this.
Well, I think the quality of it was more important than anything, having a really good, solid film that was put together well and shot with the people that needed to be in it. And, you know, even if it didn't have the accolades or support that you had in the very beginning, it ended up coming out really well. So
I'm not, I joke when I say these things, you know what I mean? I'm completely proud and happy of everything, you know. We had a good, you know what I mean? It couldn't have been done without everybody's contribution to the film. And yeah, it was how about let's hear from you guys. I mean, from the outsiders, the people that were involved with this machine, plugging away, trying to get done. What was you guys' take when you seen all this? You know, it looked like things were kind of falling out of place and really turning into issues for the film. How were you guys taking that in?
Actually, to even answer that as an outsider coming in, it's like when you first gave you a script, and I read.
We were all right at that point.
And I read that there was this immensely overweight character that is almost like a cartoon character. And I remember we got Mike Vino, and who did a great job. But I was reading the script and I'm like, what the hell am I getting myself into? And I really didn't know, but all I knew is I knew Matty Fisher and I really enjoyed the rapport I had with him. And it's like, you know what? I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm going to have a blast going into this. And I really did. And I'm just so glad I did. It's the first BoomBastic experience I had.
A lot of people's first BoomBastic. Mike, me and Mike were the only two people here that worked previously before DJ. Hell yeah.
Together, you mean?
Together.
That had worked together?
Yeah. No, nobody ever worked before. Mikey Calvin, what's your take on this? When we were going through some hard times, how many nooses did you have to cut out of the basement?
I don't even know where to start.
At the beginning.
That was a rough time. The further on we got, the more my workload shifted from fun shooting to hard editing, because I happen to do both in this.
Yeah.
With, of course, I couldn't have done it without the other Mike that came in and helped. Yep, that came in to help us with editing. It just wouldn't have been done in time for a deadline that anyone would have been happy with. Yeah. So good thing for him. But oh man, yeah, it was disheartening for me too, because I mean, not just of what really seemed insurmountable to edit this thing, while I had a job, it was just doing it when I could do it. But also reshooting all this stuff, that was tough for me too, because it was, like Matt said before, everyone was working just out of kindness and showing up. And so luckily for me, Matt really took most of the responsibility of sweet talking people into coming back to redo work that they did. But for all the work that all of our talent did, I had to be there for that and be there to set it up and then be there to break it down. Yeah. And it was, oh man, I was glad when it was done, because I was glad I didn't have to do it anymore, and also because I loved the movie.
From a production standpoint, what was the longest day of filming?
Probably a wedding day.
Yeah, I don't know which one, because they're all really a blur.
Like one of the first wedding days we did, I think we learned to break it down. So I want to say, like, we probably did one wedding day that was probably like, we tried to do a whole bunch of scenes and just got killed on. Like the day that with Peter came in and we didn't get to him, maybe it was a day like that or something.
That was a long day.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually did shoot pretty long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually we'll have like a storyboard, so to speak. I usually did do the regular shots and then throw in a couple creative shots to like edit in. So like I think I did that too much sometimes. Mikey only told me we're not doing one shot. That was it. That's very nice of Mike.
I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I forget what it was. In the end, we didn't need it. It was one of those things when we were probably pushed for time, and I'm like, well, let's do this cool thing here.
I remember it. I think I remember what it was.
Is
it okay if I say?
Yeah, for sure. Less than something.
I think it was a thing. It was a gag shot. It was a joke shot that would have been really hard to execute, and I thought I would have been trying to convince you to edit it out after we shot it anyway. Yeah. And it was a shot of Alex as Wesley, I think, when he got up it was like Frankenstein style or something like that.
Yeah.
It was some old throwback homage shot to like a monster thing. I don't remember what though.
See that. It's kind of like the Bumbacula scene from The Sight throwback,
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I did it bigger.
Yeah, it was just like that. It's just like what Alex is doing right now. And I didn't want to have to rig that up.
Yeah, I don't blame you. A lot of I didn't take into consideration lighting for a lot of things too. So I was like, let's just grab it quick. And Mike's like, well, we gotta light it. And I'm like, yeah. True. It's unfortunate.
Can't forget that. Oh yeah, lights.
Yeah, we did. We shot behind the liquor store in Wareham, which would become where we shot the Joe scene in Chase, behind the VFW, and that was. I remember lighting was a little tricky back there. Trying to think of the moments in the house, it was a little lighting because we're difficult with lighting because we were trying to go for a weird, mystique-y, psycho-ish type vibe a little bit.
It worked.
It worked, yeah, because I mean, and that's my favorite lit shot in the film, but when with Joe as well, because the way it's lit, it's very film. There's a very film noir look I noticed to the actual film itself. Were you I mean, I don't know if it was that subconscious or if you were intentionally going for there to me there was some very kind of like even like Raven Chandler, kind of that real film noir, type of Maltese Falcon. I mean, some sharp angles. So there was some really nice angles in there that I thought how it was filmed.
Like for the scene or the whole film?
The scene, the Joe Jaffa scene, I felt like that could have been in the Maltese Falcon, with
it was
the way the lighting was. It was just, I think it was just a great scene. It was just lit really well. But you were battling a lot of lights in that scene, you were saying?
Well, we had our own lighting, and we had what little lighting they had out back to work with. Like
Yeah.
what? Yeah, like you never would have been able to see them in real life. You know what I mean?
We were lighting them. We had a lot of halogen pointed at them, and I think it ended up looking as if there's like a security flood or something back there. But I mean, that's good. I love that too.
Mikey built lights for DJ Stand-Up, man, like a floodlight situation with the soft boxes over them.
Yeah, we were too cheap to do anything better, so
better believe it.
We had to get Home Depot constructive about it.
Mikey's ahead of his time.
Well, I mean, being a photographer, lighting is imperative. It's like it is super, super important to movies, film, everything. It's everything. And if your lighting is off, the scene goes flat or it's just wrong. And
throws everything off.
Yeah, I thought because my husband does that stuff with photography, the lighting part of it, it's just so essential. And Mike did such a great job between the inside shot, like I said, the wedding part and the outside stuff too. I mean, and also with Alex and Tyler in the house and the creepiness of that. It was great. It was really good.
Yeah, Mikey lit the whole thing. I mean, from time to time, we'd have hands helping him, but for the most part, I think Mike lit the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I was doing a lot on those. Billy, since you mentioned noirs, I didn't have film noir specifically in mind, but I did have Blade Runner, which was itself very derivative of the old film noir.
But if you look at a lot of those 80s science fiction, such as like Trancers as well, a lot of those were specifically derived from kind of those 1930s, kind of that whole concept, of the 1930s, film noir, even like the actors having like Peter Lorre, like in those movies where they might have other characters. I mean, to me, I think the closest to the Peter Lorre character in this role is Alex Hauck. But it just has a nice, it's just a great story, I mean, it's with characters that you're really become invested in. You kind of question their sanity as well. You see, a lot of I mean, it's a fucked up story. I'm gonna hire a cut it, but it's a fun story, and it's that wonderful ride that you go on. And I think that's what truly makes this film entertaining.
Originally, the character that Frankie played, the Calvin Michaels character, which if anybody hasn't caught the reference on that the name is reference to our cinematographer producer pal over here, Mike Calvin.
I wanna make sure that people know that Matt did that, and it was nice, and I did not name a character after myself.
Alexander Hauck got a character named after him, and he did not like it as much. So for Bobby DeSicamo, right? That's his name.
Bobby DeSicamo?
Chico.
Yeah, Yeah, DiCiccio there. From Cond, Metamu's Mr. Big and Cond, worked with Arthur Lund. That's where Heidi came from, and John Pierce. That's how they kind of came into the film. And I remember that there was too many swear words for Bobby, so he said, I know just the right guy. And he introduced us with Frankie, and we went to Bocelli's, I believe. Me, you, Mike's wife was there, I believe. The four of us, I think. Was Maureen there? I don't know if Maureen was there. But we all sat down and we ate Italian food. And we talked about, and this place would later become the place where we had the premiere party for DJ. You know what I mean? Frankie's like, yes.
You know
Frankie,
what? I didn't even know you guys were in Cond.
Huh?
I was in Cond as well. I didn't know you guys. I didn't even know you then.
Oh yeah, well I know you were in Cond. You played one of the police when they kick into the kitchen.
FBI agents, yeah.
I'm in the warehouse. When there's a scene where like two heavies walk into the frame, and it's me and some other dude, and I did like some behind like some crew shit for it too. That's where I met Arthur doing Cond.
All right.
Then I fell in love with the fact that he could get a budget when nobody else.
I've never seen that.
Cond's a fun movie.
That's a good movie.
Never saw it.
I actually like Cond. And
What year
Arthur's
was
a
that?
talented dude for real.
What year did you guys make that?
2012,
I think
maybe 11. No, late, actually before 10, like 8 or 9, maybe like 9, maybe 2008, 2009.
Do you have it?
I have it, yeah.
Do
I
you?
remember hearing all about it.
Well, you can get them. Hauck, wasn't there someone line cheap? I think.
I know there was on eBay. I mean, that was a little while ago. I'd have to look again.
But yeah, Con was good times.
Never saw it.
One thing that I loved is when I got the script. I remember getting the script in hand and having it and having the opportunity to read it. And I read it from beginning to end, completely on my own. And I just remember laughing my ass off so much. I said, "This movie is so funny. This is going to be so awesome to be a part of this movie." And I remember our readings that we did at Matt's house. That was the first reading we did at Matt's house. And I just was like laughing through the whole reading because it was so funny. And then we had another one, obviously. Was that at Chase's house? I think we had the second.
I think it was at Chase's.
Yeah, it was in Chase's garage, right? We did that there.
The
I just have the fond memories I have of the readings. It was so much fun. I just remember laughing quite a bit.
How many read-throughs did you guys have before you guys ended up?
Like a handful. I remember Chase, and Mike. We did them in the beginning, and then eventually turned into me going to Chase's because every week before we would shoot, I would go to Chase's house and we would go over all the scenes we were gonna do. We'd like go through them, and we even have footage that Mikey shot from the beginning of like us doing me and him. I think it was the beach scene, which the beach scene is what we shot first because we were using that scene for the Indiegogo to try and get some money.
Yeah.
Which is probably a bad idea because like the worst audio, right, Mikey?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Shooting on a windy beach.
Bad idea. Yeah.
Not easy.
No,
I love that scene though. I thought it was funny.
Beautifully shot. I love that where it's going down the beach and you have that little engulfment when the girl walks down. That's a very nice. Looks nice. It looks nice. But yeah. Chase, I don't think we ever even talked about Chase coming into the film. Chase was a DJ that we worked with at a wedding. We'll give the big. Mike, should we tell the world the big secret?
No, you can't.
No?
You can't.
Right.
I don't think that would be appreciated.
Okay. All right, we won't tell the big secret. So we were working with Chase Carson at a wedding place, and he's not too far off from the character of DJ Stand the Man, we'll say. So I wrote this. I talked to him about it. I was like, would you be interested in, doing something like this? And he said, yeah. In his story, he says he was all like floored and couldn't believe I'd think of him to do it. But, we're, in any entertainment field like that, when you got to deal with all those people that you don't really care about but got to pretend to, that's acting. So went and wrote the script, brought it back, sat down with Chase. He read it. He loved it. Very, close to, I kind of wrote it with him in mind, you know what I mean, so to speak. And then, yeah, we started, me and Mike would get together with him. We would do a couple, would videotape a couple scenes, a lot of table reads. I remember me and Mike sitting at this poker table in Chase's garage many times, talking about how good it's going to be when DJ Stan the Man's done. The being children again, being adolescents, right, Mike? But yeah, a bunch of them table. So he was kind of there from the get-go, and brought him in, and Chase shined. Like, I will give for a dude who's never been on a film set before, the presence that he had.
Yes.
Well,
It was better.
Presence.
You know what I mean?
He definitely has star presence, and he knows how to work the scene. And I think some people as performers know how to tap into that, and some might not know that. But it seems like whenever Chase walked into a scene, he definitely commanded that presence where you really bought this character that he was portraying. And it's not actually too far from, I agree, kind of the real personality that he is, because he is such a fun personality to be around. So to parlay, I think, between Chase and DJ, even though there are parallels, they're still different enough. But no matter how you cut it, Chase just owned that role.
Chase did. Everybody here, just about everybody here has only met DJ Stan the Man, though.
What I liked about Chase too is that he allowed the other characters to shine and breathe and be themselves too. Like, gave them that space to be the characters of themselves. And the interactions, the between everybody that he worked with was very authentic. And he was very giving of the scenes. It wasn't like he was trying to take over and, bowl over anybody. He was very giving of the scenes that when he was working with others.
So it was a nice balance, just a real nice balance.
Very much, yeah.
And Peter as well. Do you always feel like it was just a fun, not as like a balance, but like there was like a banter almost, kind of in between that you guys were balancing, where it was the funness of it and also a slight off kilter where it's almost like, the new guy comes in. So, of course it's going to be a little intimidated.
No, it was great working with Chase. I like that the big old titty place or whatever that strip club was. Those scenes were fun, going back and forth.
Yeah,
I really enjoy that scene. I love that banter back and forth in the strip club between
Peter being able to, Chase is DJ Stan's such a larger than life character for Carlos and Frankie too. To kind of match up and square up with him on film is a testament to both of you guys. You know what I mean? How great you guys are as actors, because you don't let them steal the show. No. When you guys are on screen together, that presence would usually outshadow and steal the show from other actors, but he doesn't do that with you guys. You guys, square up with them perfectly. This is success of any success the film's had. It's because of the dynamic, I feel, of the characters. You know what I mean?
Hey, you did the casting.
That's what Alexander Hauck casted from afar.
Oh,
yes. But I am the ghost caster.
All right, Ghost.
So it's like a big band, you know what I mean? Everybody plays their part. If any of the other characters lacked, Chase wouldn't have came off as good, you know what I mean? That's how it is. You guys are with ensemble pieces like that. It's multiple characters, but it's all like one character in a way, you know what I mean? That has to vibe together. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it was good times. It was definitely good times. Frankie, how you doing over there, bud?
How you doing? All right? I'm right here.
This reminds me of the first scene we shot with you when you slammed your fist down on the table in Mike Calvin's living room.
I hate DJ Stan the Man too.
Speaking, I remember tough lines for dialogue. I remember there was a line of dialogue Frankie had a lot of trouble with, and that's nothing against the man down there, the man, the myth, the legend. Do you remember, what was that line?
I remember it.
Doesn't have anything to do, which on my part, I wrote a funky line. I think the line was a little difficult, but it was like something about, well, it depends if I had anything to do with it, if I would care if DJ Stan the Man, something. It was weird, but I remember it was tough. That was a tough line. You remember that, Frankie? I bet you'd have nightmares about that to this day. Hello?
But it all worked out good.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, no, nothing bad. That was nothing bad.
No, I know.
So, that's the beauty of making these things, that you get on there and you work them out. The fact that it's such a collaborative effort is the beauty of it, but it can also be like the burden sometimes of it, is it's a collaborative effort in certain situations, you know what I mean?
Hey, we've all had lines that we had trouble with.
Oh, that burden line had nothing to do with Frankie's in that line. Frankie will never talk to me again after tonight. No, Frankie's the best. I remember seeing Frankie on Emerald. When I got a promo kit, if you will, of Frankie when we were gonna cast him up, a little like assortment of things I should look into. And, that was one of them. Frankie did some of the bigger Hollywood films. I remember Frankie came into the picture. He was rubbing elbows with Adam Sandler, Dane Cook, you know what I mean, doing it big. Did you have any issue with the SAG thing, Frankie, and the fact that we were a non-union film?
I had talked to the union before.
Yeah.
And I said I was already in the middle of the movie, So they said it was okay. They didn't have no problem with it. Because usually, like, if you're a SAG member and then you go into a movie without telling them, then you can get in trouble. But you can get fined. But I was already, we were like 1/3 of the movie already into it, because I was already in AFTRA. It was a different union before.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie just realized this wasn't a SAG production and covered his face with his thumb. Like, I gotta get out of here. Yeah.
They were pretty cool about it, though. I told them the truth, They were okay.
Yeah, as long as you tell the truth.
I mean, it seems like if you probably didn't say anything, then you probably would have been reprimanded you. But the fact that you were so honest,
you're making a lot of money on it. That's the thing. It's all about money. If you're making a lot of money on the movie.
Now he's talking about money and SAG, and now he's really covering it up.
This man
We
played
can't
a
see you,
photographer.
Frankie. Move your hand. There you go. Now we can see you.
So let's get into we want to remember a few folks that haven't are no longer with us. Billy Coyne has a list of folks we're going to talk about.
Yeah, no, because like before we came on here, we were talking about like a little bit of like a in memoriam. In memory
of memoriam.
Memorandum.
In memorandum.
No,
exactly.
not a memorandum. That's a note.
I know, but just to acknowledge, a few people like, not just Joe, but like, Van and Peter as well.
So, we'll bring up Peter. Peter was John Pierce's buddy, who came into our strip club scene.
And that was Peter Devins.
Peter Devins, yes. Peter L. Devins, I believe, yes. Good guy.
Yeah.
He had a lot of fun when he was on set. I remember big smiling face. He could have competed with Joe for smiling faces that day. He was very happy. What's funny is, he is in the movie. He walks by in the background. That's his camera. I remember he spent most of the time getting real fake lap dances in the background while we were making the movie. But
he passed away?
He passed away before the film came out, yeah.
Oh, no.
John was telling me, we're doing these yearly shows, and I want to start doing like memoriam things for all the folks that have left that have worked with BoomBastic, and we're kind of playing catch up since this is the first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was also shocked when I heard that Van Brockman passed away, because I worked with Van on 2 different productions. I'm not even sure if they came to fruition, but I met Van first, briefly, through you guys. And I believe it was only 2 summers ago he passed away. And I found out from a mutual friend when I was taking the NBTA. And it was very incredibly sad.
Yeah, Van played in the scene where DJ's in the Xander Hauck, the big heavy guy's house, and there's like the 2 Asian gentlemen packaging up cocaine with Sun Yi. He played one of the gentlemen packaging up the cocaine. Yeah, that was very sad. Young guy, super sad, had a kid. Depression, sad thing, like, it's one of those things, very unfortunate. Van was a very good dude, he was in the film. He supported the film, you know what I mean? Good guy. It was really sad. Did any of you guys work with Van, like outside of DJ at all?
I want to say the production I worked with him on, I think, was potentially supposed to be a pilot.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think we only got like a few days in, then they just like scrapped the thing. But it was nice seeing him again, because my favorite line in the entire movie, he was kind of around, which was "Yes, sir, Bob." The little Asian woman, she was so funny. But I remember Van, kind of off in the corner in that scene, talked to him a little bit. But after that, I saw him like maybe one other time. We just chatted about DJ,
Yeah.
because he doesn't live too far from me. I'm in Dorchester. I think he was not too far as well.
He lived down by me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very sad. He just got married recently before. Just dark stuff, you know what I mean?
But just had a real nice heart, just really threw himself into the role, and just he loved acting. He loved the trade, and he just loved that sense of camaraderie. I think that's what you want, when you get into this business, because it's not about for fame or fortune. It's nice when you can have that camaraderie and get along with one another, and when you finish whatever it is that you film and it comes out, it's one of the greatest sensations in the world. You don't have to have an award. If you enjoy the people that you work with and the end product is something you're incredibly proud of, it's an even better sensation.
Deep. Yeah, no, you're right. You're 110% correct, for sure.
And I think just also mentioning, good old JJ. I mean, Joe Jaffo, I've known for years, and I swear to God, the one thing I loved about him, whenever we would talk, it was always conspiracies. He loved conspiracies.
Yeah.
And he was just such a bigger than life personality. I mean, he owned everything he was in, I mean, he's very much missed. I think of him all the time. I really do.
The outpouring that Joe had on social media was very overwhelming. I was so happy to see that, because like he affected a lot of people, you know what I mean? Everybody knew Joe smiling always, if he could make the situation better, make you laugh and stuff like that, he would, you know what I mean? Very supportive dude, you know what I mean? I talk conspiracies with him into the wee hours of the morning, you know what I mean? It's fun.
I know. He would tell me how much he loved talking with you, and whether it be conspiracies or it was film. And I have a lot of fond memories of him and the things that he used to talk about. And he was such a musician. Wow, yeah. What a great artist, not just with the acting, but the music that he created. He could play so many different instruments, and a lot of people that I think knew him in the acting world didn't know him about the music part as much. And he was a very impressionable person. He really made a deep impression on you, and he cared very deeply, and he gave of his time to people. He gave a lot of time to people
Yes,
that
very
he cared
unselfish.
about. Yes, he would give a lot of his time, a lot of his input, a lot of his insight into things that he'd see, and always trying to help someone out.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I really appreciated that about him. I mean, I would sit there, I lived with him, and he would be talking on the phone to people, and just pouring his heart out, or I'd come in from work and he'd be like just giving himself to people constantly on the phone, and online as well, and building these relationships. He was all about building these great relationships with
He
all
loved
these
networking.
amazing people.
He loved to just talk.
Did.
He just loved the camaraderie of if someone is willing to be in the same wavelength as him, just have a nice, intelligent conversation.
Yes.
And when it goes deep, it goes deep. But he never deviated. He never made you feel uncomfortable. I mean, it's like sitting in the comfort of your own home with your best friend. It's really one of those, type of friendships that you can develop with the man because he's just such a big, loving teddy bear of a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I really miss him. I miss listening to him play his music and being creative and talking about the roles. And I remember when he got this role and he was all excited about it, and he just really poured his heart and soul into it and really gave it his all. And I think that shows through the work that came out on the screen. He was so super excited about it, and then he moved on and did Bleed for This, and I know that was like a huge thing for him. And I think this role gave him so much confidence to jump off and do more after that. It really gave him a lot of confidence, and Matt, you really helped him with that a lot. You made him feel so comfortable on set.
Glad I could. I remember we talked to a lot of folks after he passed. I remember when he was alive, he'd always talk about, DJ was one of his favorite movies that he was a part of, and the outside smoking weed with Chase, and it's real and all that, and and then after he passed, a lot of people, even people I didn't even know in the community that you just talked to, because like I said, the outpouring for Joe was pretty crazy in a good way, you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, we see as a community, we'll see certain people, they'll pass away, and usually their friends and stuff, the people they work with, their circles kind of celebrate them. But Joe was kind of like the first time I really seen the community as a whole, you know what I mean? Because he was cool with those non-union people. He was cool with those union people.
Yeah.
He was in both worlds, you know what I mean? And it is kind of two different worlds in our community, you know what I mean? As much as it's not talked about, I mean, it's two different worlds.
Yeah.
And he kind of meshed within both of them. And, he was always down to talk, and he was so supportive and be positive and uplifting and stuff, and, that was quite a hit. That was upsetting, and he was young, and it was just, I remember like I got out of the hospital like a week or so before that happened. I forget who told me, but I remember like just hearing it and be like, I had to sit down. I was like so floored.
I told you, Mathew. I think I told you.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Just crazy. He's so young, so full of life. And it's one of those crazy, the good die young type deal, not to use a cliche thing, but like, he was always positive. Like, the world needs more people like Joe. It's just sad when, you know what I mean? Even more so sad when those people leave. You know what I mean?
I remember, I think it was only a few days after he passed, Tommy DiNucci posted something that was so beautifully written.
Yeah.
It was just a really, really nice tribute about Joe. And I only remember that because Tommy DiNucci, I'm pretty sure, was the one who directed Bleed for This. But he just, I don't know if you can look back on Tommy, he wrote some really beautiful words about him. But I think of him so much, and I miss him. And,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe was a great dude. It's we did after we did the first screening after he passed, we dedicated to Joe, and we did a documentary about the making of DJ that's dedicated to him. We have like a picture, like an 11x17 picture we keep with our posters when we do go to conventions or go to screenings. So he's always kind of there with us, you know what I mean? Yeah, he's still cheerleading, you know, it's nice. But yeah, super, you know, it's crazy. I know that the community gathered, I think they did an anniversary. Did they do like some anniversary type thing? I think they might have. I remember they did. They did like they did a ceremony, because I know the family didn't do a ceremony right off the bat.
Quiet about it.
Yeah, we had, I don't know about the community. I put together something for like a tribute for him. And that was for like between the film industry and the music industry, and we had that for him. It was actually on his birthday. We did it for him, and it was really awesome for people to come together to talk about him, and you know, just sharing these stories that everybody had about him. And then we watched Bleed for this as well, and it was a great time to have that moments of him and sharing. And there was a page and everything done up for him and stuff. So.
Yeah, you guys should have watched DJ Stan the Man.
Well,
Joe
I
would
didn't
laugh.
have it.
Okay.
I didn't have it.
I know.
So we couldn't.
I
We
see.
would have.
I seen one of these hats. There was a tribute. Somebody put together a board for his tribute thing, and one of these hats was on the board. Made my eyes watery. I was like, Jesus, poor Joe, man.
Yeah.
I got in my poster back here from the premiere. I was telling, I think, Bill beforehand. It was like, I got Joe's autograph on it, which is like super rare. You know what I mean? It's like one of my prized possessions. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Yep.
I think my favorite image of Joe was at that premiere. He thought he was Jack Nicholson because he just had the sunglasses on. He's walking around and he was just in his element. And I was so happy. I was so proud of everyone. I was so happy for him because, I mean, he just owned that scene and he just loved being around people. I mean, it was that premiere was such a fun night.
It was.
Joe knew because like I said, I'm a night owl, so I'd always be up at the wee hours, and Joe was too. So like we'd talk a lot then, and he knew the trials and tribulations of making that film. You know what I mean? And there was times I got a lot of pep talks. Like I said, we were never gonna throw in the towel, but we had some really dark days making that movie, and I got a lot of good pep talks from Joe. You know what I mean? Yeah, and he was to see it get done, you know, it meant a lot to him too, you know what I mean? I know it meant a lot to everybody. It was good that we could have given him that because I know that he was holding out for a long time. As everybody was, they're like, waiting to see it. And you know, he finally got to see it, which was really cool. That was good times. Frankie,
the premiere.
Frankie passed out. Yeah.
Yeah. At the premiere, Joe was sitting right behind me.
Yeah.
And he was glowing, like beaming, excited. Like I'd never seen anyone so excited in my life. And then I remember walking out after it was all done, me and my wife are walking back to the car and she goes, "Who is that guy that was sitting right behind us? Because he's like, he loves you." And then I was like, no, that's just the way he is with everybody.
Yeah, he's a special guy. There should be a statue or a bench or something for Joe. We should figure out something.
Yeah,
He
it's kind of
looks so
unfortunate
intense.
that we couldn't, like, I don't know where, the reason why we did the tribute was because the services for his wake and funeral were private and no one knew where they were. And I think that was probably the hardest thing for everybody, is because there wasn't like a closure with it. That's why we did the tribute, because we needed some sort of closure for him. And not, I mean, his family, of course, that's first, but he had a big family, you know, extended family with the music and the film industry. That's why it kind of doing that for him and in memory of him really just kind of gave a little bit of closure and a little bit of talking the memories over and reliving the times that you had with him really gave a great picture of who he was and how he, like you said, Matt, just how he loved everybody and really impacted the people that he talked to and he came in contact with.
Yeah, families don't understand the other side sometimes, you know what I mean?
I do.
Like, they have no idea that he had all these friends and people that were like family in the film and music world, you know what I mean? Or they would have included him. They probably just thought it was something Joe did for fun. We've seen him in this movie, but yeah, we should do something for him. It'd be cool. Joe could, like a film festival dedicated to Joe or something.
Yeah.
Something cool. Once COVID clears up.
Oh, yes, please.
It never does. Damn COVID, man.
I agree.
Don't mention it.
Yeah, there it is. I know. We'll see how it goes. Would DJ Stan the Man survive in a COVID world? Probably.
Don't cough.
He would adapt.
He is COVID. Yeah, cockroaches and DJ Stan the Man. The only thing that could survive a nuclear holocaust.
COVID would get infected with DJ Stan the Man.
Yeah.
I believe that. You know what I mean? I have. Did I ever tell you guys I actually have sequel ideas for DJ Stan?
No.
We've talked about it, Matt.
Yeah, me and Mikey know, but there was even. Did I tell you about a third? There was a third one. I know there. Mikey, I don't think you know about the trilogy, because Mike was going to direct one. Mike was going to do one. Still might happen.
I only know about one. I only know about the sequel. I don't know about the third.
Yeah, we can't go too deep. Because it might never happen, But we can't even get Chase to show up for a Zoom meeting. You didn't really get Chase to show up to make another movie. Come on now. But I would love to do them. I might write them for funsies. That's a Mike Calvin word. And then put them somewhere. They're fun. I'd love to do it. It'd be fun. All right, since it's this, I'll say it real quick. Part 2, DJ Stan the Man Part 2 was supposed to be him. He's gonna start doing weddings for rich people. In Part 1, he's all like white trash kind of weddings where he beefs with them. Part 2, he was gonna do rich people's wedding, because what better of a villain than rich people? You know what I mean? And he could really like butt heads with them. And then I had a third movie that was newer that tied into mine, and then we'll get into Michael's. But the third movie that tied into mine was at the end of the second one with the rich people. He ruins a wedding of a guy a judge's daughter. And at the end of the second movie, DJ Stan the Man finds himself in a courtroom in front of a judge. And it ends up being that guy, the daughter's father, and he like banishes away from the U.S. So then the third movie starts up with him in a crappy plane, flying through to this other like third world country, and the plane goes down, and DJ Stan the Man walks out of the ocean on a resort, and now he becomes a DJ at a resort.
Oh, that's so
Cana or something crazy like that, and he's gonna get wrapped up in like the Punta Cana mafia, and they're gonna try and kill him. But that was gonna be the trilogy. And then Mike Calvin had an idea for one too. It's kind of going out of the country a little bit. I think he goes on the look.
What, the Bayou one?
Yeah.
The one where I don't remember the details, but I remember that he ends up in search of Wesley Kowinski. I don't remember how DJing plays into this. Maybe it doesn't at all. But he goes down to Florida or Louisiana, something like that, somewhere down the Gulf Coast, and tries to track down Wesley Kowinski, who turns out that he's living in like a shack. You have to take a fan boat to get to it.
It was P.I.
I like that.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's right. It was P.I. Stan the Man.
He's going to be a private investigator. Because Wesley's character takes, at the end of DJ, where it says he takes the mother's money and flees, and then DJ goes looking for him. It would probably be over something foolish, like he wants to, like, you get to the whole end of the movie and he just wanted to borrow $20 from him or something ridiculous. Something fool. He's like, yo, you know where I left that bag of weed?
I love,
Right here.
I love that whole fan in the Everglades thing because that just what comes to mind immediately was Chuck Norris Invasion USA. You know,
There
But
was
the
going to
question
be a
is,
Zoom.
who's
We were going to do
Ross?
a very DJ. We're going to do a short film for this. We'll say this because it'll never happen either. It was going to be Alex in character hitting up all the characters from DJ Stan the Man, and throughout it they were going to talk about DJ and how oh, it's so fun working with them and all that. I miss them and all that. And everybody's going to be boo-hooey. It'd be a great Christmas if we only had DJ Stan the Man. And then Wesley shuts off his computer, and we hear the reindeer on the roof, and so he goes downstairs, and then there's Santa Claus down by the tree and the fireplace, and he's putting out gifts, and he goes Santa Claus, and Santa Claus turns around and it's DJ, and he goes, no, DJ Stan the fucking Man. And then it was to go Merry Christmas from like BoomBastic Films. But Chase Carson didn't want to be involved. So at least you got the verbal version of what we were going to be. It would have been fun,
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the standalone Carlos Fun movie.
Hey, that could be a thing.
I like that.
Me too.
It's Carlos Fun.
Trailer. That'd be great.
Hey, man.
We got to have Frankie in there because you have those two guys, in cahoots.
Frankie comes
Yeah.
back in the sequel.
Yeah, Frankie comes back as a ghost haunting Carlos Fun.
Oh, man.
In the
No
sequel,
phone calls, please.
Really, in the sequel, Frankie came back as his twin brother. That's what me and Michael talked about. And then
Actually,
in the third one, Frankie would be. This would be too hot for TV nowadays, but he was going to be like a random like Punta Cana. He tanned out like someone from the island type deal with an accent and like little dreadlocks and shit. Like you were from Punta Cana, like the Calvin Michaels of Punta Cana type deal.
Sounds good.
I would take Frankie like a Rastafarian. I mean, Frankie as a Rastafarian sounds epic on so many levels.
Imagine Frankie as a big weed smoker, smoking like big cigars of weed. That'd be funny.
That'd be cool.
You could try and get Chase Carson to switch from alcohol to weed.
Yeah.
It'd be
We'll
very,
get Tommy Sean. Well, then we'll
He
throw
did do
Tommy
that
Sean
though
in
in the
this.
first one, so
there you go.
As soon as I get out of prison, I'll be in the sequel.
You're getting your own spinoff. Carlos Fun will work his way back in. You're in prison. You got to work.
I know.
Would probably have you dig out of prison at one point.
That was a fun scene at the end of the movie too.
I love that ending. That's a great ending. If I do say so myself.
Yeah, I like.
Yeah. That was the last thing we shot with you, right?
Yeah.
That might have been the last thing we shot ever. Like that in that last scene. The last thing we ever shot was DJ in that fake booth, right, Mike? I think
we shot one more thing. Wasn't our very last thing
a
we shot? We
reshoot.
need.
On
Yeah, it was a
Imbergamo.
shot. It was in my driveway, right? And it was when he says, "Let's get this motherfucker done." And he slams his trunk lid. For some reason, we needed that one shot.
And I also remember the scene of him in the Xander Hauck house reading through the Bible, and I know you were a big fan of how he improv some stuff that you liked a lot, where he was like messing up the Bible. It was upside down and stuff. Yeah, I think that was like the last thing we did. Yeah. Hell yeah. Words up. Well, and does anybody else have anything else that they want to chat about or talk about with the film?
Maddie, we mentioned something earlier about like a post-production editor type of thing.
Oh, there was a story about when I was talking about that story about Carlos Fun. The original Carlos Fun stuck me and Mike Calvin for a bill, and like said everything was cool, and then the next second everything was wrong. Me and Frankie had this situation too with an edit. We were bringing an editor in to help Mike Calvin finish it up. And do you remember the editor that we sat down with, Frankie? And she was all like, "Oh, I love the film. Read the script. It's great." And then by the time I got home, I had a email telling me the script was garbage, and that when she was younger, like her mother got like, you know, something bad happened to her. And like all these different reasons why she hated it, which is fine, but it was so crazy that it went literally I think we bought her lunch too, or Frankie probably bought her lunch. And
What's these problems with people's free meals?
we're not getting, that's why I don't do free meals anymore. Everybody can
Be
blame me.
happy if you get a free meal.
Everybody can blame
I'm
me.
still waiting for my free meal.
I didn't get one
Not
either.
enough free
So.
meals, Hauck.
And then stick it to you afterwards.
That's the thing. I can't do it no more. But yeah, the Carlos Fun dude got us on that, and then that editor did.
What's her name? Judy?
I don't think
Her
we
name
should
was-
say a name even if we knew it.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to say her last name. I don't know who.
Yeah,
We-
she worked for like Channel 2 or something like that, PBS or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Hey, everything happens for a reason.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I thank you that he was an asshole.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't ever. That dude moved to New York, I think. I don't know whatever happened. It would have been a weird dynamic because I remember he was like awkwardly tall, and like it wouldn't have worked. He was taller than Chase, and it would have worked. Like the fact that Frankie's a little shorter than Chase is good with the dynamic of their relationship.
Yeah.
But like, if Carlos could noticeably beat the shit out of DJ Stan the Man, it would be a different story. You know what I mean? That's nothing against Peter, but when they're both the same size, it's more of a 50-50. But if the other dude was towering over him,
Yeah.
even Stan won't talk shit that somebody knows can beat him up. You know what I mean? He'll bite his tongue, you know. But yeah,
It's like that Mutt and Jeff complex, you know, the tall guy and the short guy. It's just one of those vaudevillian things that goes way back all the way, you know. It's the fun seeing the dichotomy, you know, certain actors, you know, bouncing off one each other, especially knowing, you know, what they're capable of. You know, some people work to their strengths if they have, like, you know, if they're tall and short, or, you know, vice versa. To me, I think that all goes back to vaudeville.
Yeah, I used my charm on DJ.
that's all you gotta do. Did anybody show the movie to somebody that didn't like it? Any fun stories about that?
My brother.
Yeah, what'd he say?
You there? It was at the premiere.
He just said that to bother me.
I remember my brother came up, and I remember my brother was. You was sitting, my brother. He's like, "What did you think?" And my brother was like, "It was all right. It was all right."
Your brother.
Mike.
My uncle told me he fell asleep in the middle of it at the premiere. I was like, all right, sure. At the premiere, I always got that story where my niece and nephew came to the premiere, so for like nudity, stuff where there's nudity or something really extreme, I'd take them outside. They probably shouldn't have been there, but everybody was happy the movie was made. They wanted to celebrate.
I remember you always walked them out. You always knew it was coming up, and I remember on a few occasions you would escort your nephew and me,
Yeah.
and then come back in a minute afterwards.
I remember while I was out there, some lady came out to smoke a cigarette, and she was like, "Dang," he's like, "the language in this movie is like too much." And I was like, yeah, you're right. And it made me laugh because later when we got up to do the Q&A, I could only imagine her like sitting there with her husband or whatever being like, because he'd probably care. The husband, whoever was in the film, would probably care about that. Like, she don't care, but you know what I mean? They probably want more work or something. They don't care. Hell yeah. Word up, folks. Well, we've been on for a long time, I think, a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thank you guys for all coming on. I thank you for your participation in the film. I'm sorry we're all not rich and famous. I know. I'll take the blame. But the day is not over. There's still time. think of all the important artists that became famous after they died. If that makes anybody feel better.
I don't know about that.
We can live on through our art.
Let's go.
They said.
Do that sequel.
Hey, I'd love the sequel. We're going to get DMX to be in the film. Chase isn't going to be able to do it. What's funny is at one point, I talked to DMX's manager about being DJ Stan the Man. And it didn't she contacted me and I didn't do it, which isn't weird because we'd get all types of weird contacts through IMDb Pro, like for shit like that. But we didn't go with it because realistically, I knew we couldn't afford it, even if you wanted $50 a day. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, yeah, we can't do it. I later found out that his agent or his manager was going around robbing people. So thank God we didn't have money, or we could have been like, we get DMX to be DJ Stan the Man for 10 grand? Sure. And then now we got no money. We would have been in a bad place.
Even though the check cleared.
Yeah. And then what are you going to do with DMX? You going to sue him? He ain't going to show up. He'll probably kill you. You know what I mean? Gangster. It's gangster stuff. So, you know.
Oh, man.
You know, but if there ever is a sequel, you will all be involved. No worries. Even Carlos Fun will bust out of prison. Frankie will be a twin brother. Nikilette will be a captain of whatever else is going on.
Who knows? The mothership there. Who knows what it'll be?
I like the mothership connection. Anybody here talk to Chase at all?
No.
If you ever talk to him again, say, "Oh, you never forget how much fun you missed out on."
I would like to give a public thanks to Mike, because Mike has done a couple of video auditions for me and taped them for me at his place of work, and they came out great. And I actually got a role out of one of them. So,
that's
I applaud Mike.
Mike's a good man.
Mike's
You're
a
welcome,
great.
Pete.
I wish
I really appreciated that.
I'm only starting to make up the favors that you've done for me.
We all wish Mike was around more. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you were here for this. This is awesome.
I wouldn't miss it.
Great to see you. It's been a long time for me anyway.
Yeah, for real.
We'll try and do more of these. I got the Zoom. I like this technology. Everybody can gather. It's a good deal. Maybe we'll do like a group commentary or something fun, or just chat about something. Be cool.
I want to hear the drunken commentary with Peter Morse.
We should get Mike drunk.
Hey, stay tuned.
I won't be getting drunk. I'm sorry about that, but you know, I can still join in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying everyone has to drink. I'm just saying, you know, I like those like kind of fun, unfiltered commentary tracks. Some people might have a drink.
It works that way too, yeah. Frankie, you gonna have drinks and do a commentary on DJ?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Martinis.
I'm all about that.
Yeah,
there should be a drink called the DJ Stan the Man.
Yep, love martini.
Eddie Mahoney made it. No.
Frankie, I will join you in a Sambuca.
The DJ Stan the Man changes color. Yeah.
That's Sambuca.
You start off.
Snowing. Doesn't get more traditional during the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now is the time to drink, right?
Yeah.
For those who
bad influence, Bill. You're a bad influence, kid.
I'm a horrible influence. I'm a horrible human being.
I've heard that. Alex stopped saying that about you, though.
I know. I had to pay Alex to stop bad-mouthing me.
Hey, I only speak the truth. I love you, man. I love you.
He drank the Kool-Aid.
Well, I'm whatever. I do have a Jim Jones complex.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go, guys. I'm gonna spend some time with my husband and
sounds good. Everybody,
get some dinner.
Thank you. I thank you for being a part of this and the film.
Thank you so much.
Everybody.
Wishing everyone a happy holidays.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much for this. I had a great time.
Fame and fortune is on its way, guys. It just hasn't got here yet. All right.
Keep plugging away.
See you
All
later.
right.
Hey, guys.
Merry
Good night,
Christmas,
everybody.
all.
Happy holidays.
Catch y'all
Thank
later.
you. I'll see you at Twin River.
Bye.
Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Frankie, Nicolette,
Merry
Peter,
Christmas.
Mike, Billy,
Merry
Alex.
Yes.
Christmas, everyone.
Happy holidays to everybody. Happy New
Happy
Year.
holidays.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
Catch everybody later.
Calvin, my mans. Ugly seeing you like this, man. You recently turned your back on DJ Stan the Man, but I hold no bad blood. Just goes to show you what happens when you cross the man, though. Tell God DJ Stan the Man said what's good.